Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ProPokeBowl Season 3, Week 6. If there was a show where I'm going to put all of my energy into me literally killing myself to make it work, why is this called Stress Test? It's going to be this episode. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. We are in week number 6, 2 weeks left of the regular season in the ProPokeBowl, and this is going to be the deciding time for everyone to try and vie, particularly for the top 6. But in order to show that, let's go straight to the standings here. In first place with a whopping 13 points, we are looking at the Arizona Articunos with it in the first place. In second place, the LA Ledians riding with 11 points. Third place, New York Nidoran Males looking for that top 2 spot with 10 points. W. Wellington falling from grace to 4th with the 7 points. Fifth place, the Houston Haluchas with 6 points. Tied for the 6th and final playoff seed right now is the New York Ninetales and the Ottawa Sentrets and the Galissa Padres at this point. Looking to claw their ways up into the top, or at least play spoiler. This week has a lot of hello. Wow, I actually timed that perfectly. That was cool. Either way, this is going to be an excellent opportunity for everybody to try and vie for standings. This has been the closest ProPokeBowl to date, and we've had a total of 4 of them now. So this is definitely going to be an interesting thing to take a look at it. But let's just take a look once again at the matches for this week. The New York Nidoran Males will be up against the LA Ledians. Big matchup tonight. W. Wellington versus the Houston Haluchas. Arizona Articunos versus the Ottawa Sentrets. And the Galissa Padres versus the New York Ninetales. Excellent opportunities for spoilers here. A really big one tonight is the New York Nidoran Males versus the LA Ledians. Might actually be one of our first matches of the night, in fact, considering that, well, there are going to be a couple people that are late. But let's quickly review a couple of things here. There was a trade made in week 6. Let's just fix this. There we go. Perfect. The one trade made was for, once again, the Arizona Articunos, Scrubbington, trading out the Dustomarn in exchange for Electrode. Electrode being a Pokemon that's known for its speed, not known for its power. 90 special attack, 145 speed. This Pokemon is very good at being a taunter, as well as a setup for weather and the like. It's actually quite a good support Pokemon. Very, very good Volt Switcher. So we'll see what he's going to do with that. I have a feeling that this pickup in particular is going to be mostly for the playoffs, not so much for his next 2 matches. But we'll see what he's going to be end up doing with it. Now, before we actually get into... I'm not going to battle for you, Mitchie. It's pretty important for you. Before we get into any of the battles for tonight, I would like to take an opportunity to actually talk to you guys specifically about the, of course, to stall for time, because that's what I end up doing all the time now for the ProPokeBowl, is start talking about future ProPokebowls and the future after this particular season. We've been talking it over in the Discord. If you guys haven't joined the Discord, definitely give it a shot to go over there if you do have it. It's a very fun place. It's not very active, but you know what? It's a nice calm community where you can talk with other viewers of this channel. Essentially, to give you an idea, there are a couple of rules that we're going to be adding. I have decided that player and player v player trades will be happening starting in the new seasons. We will start a beta similar to what we were doing with the trades in this particular season. And essentially what's going to end up happening is there are going to be some rules around that, but to give you a quick rundown, people will be allowed a certain number of player trades. That Pokemon, once it is traded, cannot be traded in any other way, either between players or back to the pool. That seems to be the rules that I've set up for now. Of course, I am going to be talking with people who know more about these trading rules in other sports before I put that set in stone. But either way, that's going to be the big one, as well as we are going to be increasing the size of the pool for the next seasons. We're going to be upping it by, think about 8 to 16 Pokemon. I'm going to work out the number, see how it goes. But essentially, we'll open up the trade pool to be a little bit bigger. Probably not that much more ending up anywhere, but we might be playing around with some of the balancing between the tiers. Considering that we've seen the majority of really good Pokemon move to the lower tiers, we may have to start shifting some power to see if we can make some more threats, considering how great the banning rounds and the picking rounds went so well in this season. I am excited to see if we make it even more complex and start shifting some of the percentages, and see if we can start having some top-end Pokemon ending up on more teams as opposed to mostly people getting stuck on the NU. That doesn't mean NU's not going to be the largest. That'll still probably be the largest pool, but I am going to be playing around with some percentages to see if I can increase the number of Pokemon in each tier, as well as increase more play between all these great Pokemon that have shifted all around. Obviously being sparked by the fact that, you know, Rizzy and an NU, regardless. Either way, another thing that I've been talking about is Wednesday nights have always been tournament nights for us. That seems to be the easiest night for me to do. What I might start doing is I'm not necessarily bringing Showdown back as content to the channel exclusively, but what I might start doing is these mini tournaments. Now, these tournaments won't be, they might not be in a ProPokeBowl fashion. Obviously, if I can do the seasons more often, I will. It is a lot of work and effort to set this up, and it is a lot of time investment. It does literally, like right now I have Wednesday during the day that I could be streaming, and I'm taking out about a 6 to 8 hour block in exchange to do this tournament. Not hating it by the slightest. This is a wonderful thing on the channel, obviously. But rather than making a night that just shifts to a day and we just make it another stream, I might actually keep the Showdown for the NA viewers, and we might start doing these mini tournaments. Scrubbington and I have been talking about some unique custom tournaments that we can run on Showdown weekly. It doesn't take much setup. If we get everyone signed up in advance, like you have the opportunity to sign up in advance, see the rules and things like that. Similar to what I was doing with the Noob Card League, except this one might be a little more successful. Considering that we have a lot of people coming in asking about the ProPokeBowl or just asking about Showdown content in general, I figured this would be an excellent way to keep those viewers hooked on the Showdown content as well as the commentary, which would be obviously done by me. Because you come here for me, yeah. Anyways, so we're considering that. I don't know when that would start. I might take a little bit of time off from the after the ProPokeBowl to start developing some of those things, but definitely expect at least maybe, if I can still do it, a night of Showdown, either do tournaments, not so much play. I really do like the commentary part of it. It keeps me loose on the Pokemon, keeps you going with that, and especially after when Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon comes out in November, there's going to be a giant potential shift in the meta with the new Ultra Beasts coming out. You might see new moves coming out. We might see a whole bunch of different things coming through, so it's going to be really exciting. But I just want to let you know that there might be Showdown content in between ProPokeBowl, ProPokeBowls, and we'll be going from there. So look forward to that. I'm definitely excited to do it. Either way, though, let's take a look at the brackets. Let's choose our first two combatants for the night. You know what? Let's start the show off with a bang, considering that they're the only two pair that are here. Let's do it. The New York Nidoran males versus the LA Ledians. Just as a reminder, the LA Ledians are in second place, 1 point ahead of the third seed, the New York Nidoran males. This match is enormous for both of them to try and take a 2-0 on. If the LA Ledians want to even maintain remotely keeping a lead as a second seed or potentially taking the first seed over depending on the Arizona Articunos do tonight, they must gain as many points as possible. For the New York Nidoran males, though, the pressure is equal. If he wants to make it into the top two and avoid going through the quarterfinals, whether he feels confident or not or in it, always skipping around just gives you that much more advantage to scout and also gives you that opportunity for you to just take a break and figure out a team and give yourself a little bit more time to just relax and watch the battles and really see what's going to be happening and what the format and look of the playoffs is going to be, because of course standard play always looks different from just having it in general week by week. So we talked about this last week. It's kind of a standstill. Neither team can actually take each other's defensive cores out. It's kind of going to be really interesting. I'm excited to see what they're going to be bringing out. We know that Registeel Alomomola is going to be good for the New York Nidoran males. Mixing that with Dragalge has been super powerful, but we did say there are some Pokemon on the side of Sweet D's team that might be able to manage to break through and maybe start causing havoc, but it's going to be very difficult. I expect a lot of status to be spread. I expect a lot of switching. One Pokemon we definitely pegged on the side of the New York Nidoran males is going to give Sweet D a giant headache is that Crocodile. That thing just has coverage that could do a lot of damage. It definitely is going to be, you know, causing a bunch of commotion for them. Thank you very much, Diego. Of course, if you guys have not handed in your Pokepastes, please do so now. So far, I have 4 of them. The 4 that I am missing are from the Arizona Arcos, which will be late. Glissa Padres are not here yet. New York Ninetales, if anyone finds Mitch, please let him know. And the Houston Haluchas, I will get him. He should be here tonight. Arizona Articunos and Houston Haluchas are expected to show up late. I don't know what's going on with World Leader, but hopefully everything is going on there. Diego checks out as always. Thank you very much, guys. It starts right now, Daniel-san. We are in it right now. The first match between... Actually, we're going to be setting up for the first series between LA Ledians and the New York Nidoran males. I am actually missing one piece of this puzzle. Give me one moment here, guys. I apologize. You might see that there is a giant gaping hole. I gotta launch this. I forgot. There we go. Hey, look at that, a donation tracker, because, you know, we like that type of stuff. So let's see what's going to be going on between these guys. I'm definitely looking forward to what they're going to be bringing out and, you know, how they're going to actually manage each other's defensive things. So let's just eagerly await this in silence, apparently. Let's get some music going here while we wait anyways. Oh, thank everyone for coming out tonight. This is, like I said, a very important couple of weeks coming up for everybody since this is so close. Not that every week isn't important because people are generally vying for seeds, but this is not just vying to stay in the top 6 and try and place themselves as high as they possibly can. This is about, because generally speaking, you can assume that the 3rd seed would have a good time against the 6th seed they got there for some reason. Even if they got 2-0 during the week against by the 6th seed, it's still a good way to do it. But either way, of course, you're always going to aim for that higher seed, but they're in, boys. Here we go, the match of the week between the New York Nidoran males on the close side and the LA Ledians on the far side. Let's take a look at the teams that have been brought. We see the Crocodile coming up, but we also see the Lycanroc that Diego actually grabbed. We're not waiting on participants. Thanks, though. I left up all these things, by the way, from last week. I guess I forgot I had them. Oh, dear. Either way, though, this match is going to be super important as we see the Metric leading off against the Alolan Muck. Now, this is going to be interesting because we don't see as defensive. We still see the triple defense that Diego's bringing with the Hippowdon, the Zapdos, and the Chestnut. We can also expect that the Alolan Muck's going to be pretty bulky in itself. We still see the standard triple defense that we've been seeing between the New York Nidoran males, where we see the Registeel, Alolan, Moltres, Galaxy. I'm kind of curious to see which one's going to come out on top. I do think it's going to come down to that Crocodile versus anything else, but the Pursuit's actually going to catch him on the Volt Switch. In case you didn't know that happens, it does. So he's going to bring out the Crocodile, start putting things down. The calculator is dropped by Sweet D. I don't blame him. Like I said, even a 1-1 here will keep the LA Ledians safe. A Smackdown is actually revealed on the Crocodile. Ay caramba, indeed, my friend. That's a very interesting thing. That's going to be helpful for taking out the Zapdos. Definitely a choice that was probably going to be brought just to handle it. But now the Zapdos, it only carries HP Ice, so maybe it doesn't want to rely on the Stone Edge. Or does it get Stone Edge? I think it's Rock Slide. I'm not too sure about that. I've forgotten about Crocodile, which is kind of sad on my part. Either way, though, the HP is going to come out, does a critical amount of damage. It looks like it might be HP Fighting. It still could be HP Fire. But either way, a Layer Spike is set up on the side of the New York Nidoran male, so he's going to be careful with that. Once Hazard Stacking starts coming up, that is the one advantage we can give LA Ledians, is they can encourage Hazard Stacking, which would be really bad for the Nidoran males. That seems to be the weakness that they would have, is when you're playing defensive, you want to try and have that sort of Hazard Stacking to stop the defense from constantly switching through. We see a miss on a Sleep Powder, but we don't see an item knocked off. Interesting. He is finally going to put the Alolan Muck to sleep, and we're going to see Diego switch into Zapdos as the Leech Seed comes through. More of a defensive approach here for the Roserade. I like this, though, because this is actually going to put a lot of pressure again on the walls. Just slow chip away, even though Mitchie doesn't have that much access to that Hazard Stacking. He most certainly, actually, he kind of does. He has Toxic Spikes on Dragalge, potentially, and things like this. But he could definitely put down pressure with Leech Seed and all these other moves that just slowly chip away at walls and keep his own walls healthy. We see a Stealth Rock come through. That's a layer of Spikes and a layer of Stealth Rocks up here for the LA Ledians. But he's going to have his Hippowdon Toxic in exchange. Now, we usually see Registeel running a Thunder Wave, but in these types of matches, you can see him do anything you want, because Registeel is just that kind of Pokemon that can stand, take a hit, and spread status all over the place. The Protect is going to fail as the Chestnut actually comes in. I do expect something like a Leech Seed, maybe a Drain Punch to come through. As the Dragalge comes out, it's going to be good against anything. The Fajita with more Spike Stacking. Now, Sludge Wave will go through Bulletproof. Sludge Bomb being run, it will be denied. So I do expect some kind of offensive hit here, or maybe a layer of Toxapex, but the Alolan Muck is still up, so that wouldn't be very viable at this point. We're going to see, though, the Alolan Muck does come out as a Sludge Wave comes through. It doesn't do a lot of damage to the Alolan Muck for obvious reasons. This thing is most likely Assault Vest, as we usually see it run. But he is going to actually wake up right away. Knockoff comes through. The Black Sludge is knocked away. As the Dragon Tail comes out. Actually, does a fair amount of damage to that. But it does rip out Mitch's dad. Hey, he's a boxer. Not bad, dude. Ali in the house. But either way, Hitmonchan's brought in. Unless it's carrying Ice Punch, it can't really do much. Bullet Punch, Mach Punch, anything like this is not going to be doing any damage. He actually just ends up going for the Drain Punch. You know what? Does a fair amount. It is Life Orbs. I will explain it. But the Sludge Wave comes through. Does get the 10% poison. Ooh. That's good for Mitchie. That keeps this thing nice and limited. He's only going to get a maximum of 2 more attacks off. Even with Drain Punch, won't be able to live that much. And it can't stay in right now. If it does stay in to kill off it is still going to be weakened. And it doesn't actually get the kill. The low roll on that Drain Punch is going to mean that Fajita takes him down. That's heated. And tears him down, so that's really good for Mitchie. Unfortunate, probably looking there to have the Hitmonchan as death fodder or even just spinning for later. But for now, Mitchie gets away with that one. It's about time some of the hack starts going in his direction. But the Zapdos going to come in now. Most likely goes for the Volt Switch, or if he wants to stay in, maybe to try and get an advantage. Probably wants to pressure down with the Zapdos. It would force something like... actually, no, it would have to be like the Crocodile, but I feel like the Zapdos has to be running HPS to handle that today. Or even Air Slash, just to do some damage. It will be the Volt Switch. He doesn't want to keep it out here. I do expect something like Chestnut? No? Okay, he's actually going to bring in that. So he's going to try and get the damage done with the Sandstorm. I really like what Diego's brought today, because he's got Hazard Stacking mixed with the Sand, which is just going to be tons of chip damage. We actually see the Roserade come in, so probably going to try and go for Giga Drain. Try to get as much health as possible back. You'll have tons of time, Frank. Your opponent is going to be late tonight, so hopefully it won't be too late, but we'll see. Either way, as soon as a Z-move come through as the Bloom Doom is launched. Good to know. We didn't see an item knocked off. Z-Stone activated. Or no item. Who knows? Maybe he's trying to outplay him completely, but we do see the Bloom Doom launch. That is going to be important. Gracium Z on the Roserade for this week. As the Lycanroc, Charlie P makes his way through. That is the name of Diego's dog. How cute. It's going to go for the Stone Edge. Now, we don't really know what it's going to be running. We don't see Life Orb, so it might be something like Choice Scarf, Choice Band. This Pokemon is quite fast and has good power behind it. Decent attacker. We are going to see the Intimidate, though, come out. As we thought that maybe the Crocodile might run, Moxie would have been okay, too, but we figured with the defensive style, we're not going to be seeing this Pokemon be able to stay in too much against the defensive walls, so the Intimidate makes sense here. Diego's already limited in offense. Might as well weaken his offense even more, and we are going to see the Intimidate start to soften this thing up. It's not going to be doing anything. He's going to have to switch into something like a Powdon and take the hit. Even Chestnut could take the hit, depending on what type of move he's expecting from this Crocodile. But we have seen Gracium Z, so we don't actually think there's going to be anything like maybe a Waterium Z coming out on this, which is what we thought might happen, just to get that specific kill against the Powdon or the like. But we do see the knockoff instead, nice and safe. Takes the one turn of takes the one turn of Rocky Helmet damage in exchange for getting rid of it forever. As a Toxic from a Crocodile comes out, as the Chople Berry. Oh my God, Mitchie's got text for days, ladies and gentlemen. As the Drain Punch is going to heal it up, but he is Toxic now. So now we know Diego doesn't have Aromatherapy or Heal or anything on his side right now. So he's definitely going to have to try and figure out a way to... He's going to be on a time limit here. There's going to be as much damage as he's possibly going to be doing. But the Drain Punch is pretty much going to heal off all that damage he already took. Toxic's going to do more. It is 4-3, and we do see he's down to the Mega Manectric on the side of the New York Nidoran males. But the Alomola hasn't even come in here yet. And everything else is starting to take a little bit of damage here. Hippowdon is Toxic. Charlie is not actually touched at all. We do see a Chestnut is also starting to suffer here. And the Zapdos hasn't been touched too much. So Diego right now is in a good spot. But this Mega Man can start looking to do some damage. I do expect something like an Overheat, perhaps. Yeah, it's going to be the Overheat. It's going to take out the Chestnut. Got to get this thing out of the way so he can feel safe. No Wood Hammer against the Alomomola. Or Drain Punch against the Registeel. Now, we do see the Powdon come in. It does prevent the Volt Switch. I do expect to see something like an Earthquake come through, so it will have to be the Alomomola. But Diego makes that nice double switch. Oh, but Mitch actually stays in and says, "You don't scare me, Ledians. You're nothing but a ladybug." He's actually going to end up going for the HP Ice, Suma Ice. He's not going to do anything. The Thunderbolt's doing absolutely nothing. That thing is taking hits like a monster. Wow. Oh, it's also -2 special attack. Forgot about that. Brick Break's actually going to end up coming out. Interesting little move to find out, but isn't SD variant? Oh, this thing a Sand Rush. Ooh, I completely forgot. I think Diego was talking about the Sand Rush mixing with the Powdon. Is that Dagger? Z-move, Continental Crush, is gonna destroy the Alomomola. And I think he's found his way in. The LA Ledians say, "You told me I had no offense. Let me just grab a Sand Comp in the middle of the season." I completely forgot this thing got Sand Rush. And that's gonna do it. Brick Break comes through, and ladies and gentlemen, in Dagger style, Game 1 goes to the LA Ledians. GG. Woo! Woo! Oh, that brings back memories, boys. Dang. Well, look at that kind of little mini sweep right there. SD, he says, I don't have Excadrill, who would be a much better at this job, but instead I am going to use that Lycanroc, so that's really going to be good for the LA Ledians. That's a threat that people need to keep in mind now, is the fact he does actually have Sand Synergy that's actually bringing some kind of late game, or late to the tournament Sand combination, just a weather combination, right? We didn't think there'd be any of it because we didn't really see anyone pick stuff up. We didn't see anyone use the Abomasnow. We haven't seen that. That might actually start signal some things. Now the Electro might make more sense with maybe a Rain Dance play or something like that, but we do know a few people have been using it. The most notable would actually be the Vileplume on World Leaders team and the Rain Dance, the Z Rain Dance on Ivan's team. So definitely have to keep in mind, but let's take a look at that match. We definitely saw the hazard stacking was an issue for Mitchie. I think he does have to bring... Does he have anyone who can actually do it? He does have the Mandibuzz, which is going to have a problem with stuff like Zapdos, but he might have to bring something like that just to get all of those hazards away. He didn't actually get any of his hazards up, so maybe he should try and stop this combination. He's still got a chance here to take it back in Game 2, considering that he does have, as long as he's teched his roster to actually have things like Defog and things like this, I think he could still do it. I feel like the Crocodile didn't do as much as it could have, but we could see it happen. The Grassium Z on the Roserade, though, is a very interesting thing. I don't think it's going to have a second opportunity to do that, because there's like Chestnut, Zapdos, and Alola Muck that can take all those hits, so to kill off the Hippowdon, that's why I said maybe like Waterium Z on his Crocodile would be better, but he is running the Rindo Berry, or sorry, Chople Berry, hey, so... I'm not too sure. He's going to have to find an answer for that, though, because that is kind of scary with the fact that he's not really being able to handle those hazards. That really just wore him away, and the fact that that Lycanroc got in to set up. He has Toxic on Registeel, and Registeel doesn't really want to stand in there and take a Brick Break anyways, but that might be good. A Thunder Wave, if he's running like double status on it, I wouldn't put it past him. It's not the worst thing in the world. He runs Seismic Toss, Stealth Rock, double status if he wanted to, depending on what he's bringing out. I do feel like Toxic was the primary choice, though. But Diego also has Zapdos in case he even wants to predict a Thunder Wave off a Pokemon. So, definitely think if he gets a better Sleep Powder target, which was not bad with the Alolan Muck, I think if that Crocodile gets to shine a little more, it could do a lot of damage, get more knockoffs everywhere, soften everything up so he could bring something in. Although, I'm actually a little surprised if I think about the team. Mega Man does seem to have a little bit of problems against Diego's comp, right? He needs... Because Mega Manectric, yeah, it's got 135 special attack, 135 speed, but it doesn't get, like, growth. It doesn't get anything that boosts its special attack, because it does have Intimidate as it Mega Evolves. So I'm kind of curious if he could try and, like, bait out with the Lightning Rod, get the special attack boost, then maybe Evolve, get the Intimidate down, and start going to town. That's going to be really tough to do. But, yeah, I don't know. He's going to have to find an answer for that. But for now, we are going to have to get into game number 2. LA Ledians up 1-0 at the moment, looking to take 2-0 on the week, which would put him 4 points ahead of Mitchie W, which would essentially lock him into the 2nd seed, considering that either he has to actually, he would have to take over Arizona Arcoons. It's still going to matter on that because he might be able to tie him and force him into a game, into like a best-of-3 tiebreaker the week after the final week. But we'll have to see what's going to end up. Right now, taking a point keeps him just that closer in contention with the LA Ledians. He has to slow him down. Let's take a look at what's going on here. Mitch just had an Earthquake fly at him as the Stealth Rocks came through. And now we start seeing this hazard stacking. That Toxic missing is a giant deal, considering we already know that this match is a giant stall fest. Get the stall out. He can't have an opportunity like that happening. Now, take a look at all of those hazards already on the side. We do see actually the Palossand switched in. And we also see the Cresselia coming in too. So, very interesting on the side of Diego actually switching out his... I'm drawing a blank. Oh my god, what did he switch out? I can't believe I forgot this. Is that a Flame Orb? Is that Psycho Shift? Dear god, Diego is bringing out some new stuff to play around with, and it's gonna work. But hey, Psycho Shift Cresselia, this is one of the better ones next to Sigilif, having that Magic Guard. So he even has Rest. So this type of set, actually, I tried running back at last generation. It's Sleep Talk. So what it is the Rest Talk Cresselia, and what you can do is you can actually sleep your opponents by using Sleep Talk on Psycho Shift to actually pass it along. Now that set is super weak to Taunt, but if it gets going, it's pretty cool. You can actually pass off the thing. I actually used it, and I kind of brought it to the... Like, I brought it out, and I think I did a video on it, because I don't remember if I did it with Sigilif or not. But either way, it's a super cool little trick that you can do with Rest Talk, so he has that advantage to him in the future. Got to keep that in mind. Cresselia's always been a little pain in the ass. But either way, Icarumba here, he is taking way too much damage as now even Chestnut's looking to survive. A Drain Punch will keep it alive. I don't think it's going to stand, though. Both these Pokemon are going to take each other out. But the Spiky Shield comes through. They exchange deaths, and that's going to be a good thing for Mitchie, at least. He could try and go in something blind. I think it's better for the LA Ledians. He's got Stealth Rock and Sea Spikes against his opponent. New York Nidoran males only have those rocks up. Now, I'm curious to see what the Pale Sand's going to do. I'm assuming it's going to be that defensive wall that can actually... It is part Ghost. It is Ground Ghost. So he's going to be able to take on Lycanroc's attacks. So I'm very curious to see, maybe the Cresselia is going to look to try and burn her, just try and get status on that Palossand. The safer he can keep that Palossand, the better it's going to be for Mitchie. As we see the Side Stoss coming through, this is what we wanted to see. Now Mega Manectric is actually being set up with Pokemon starting to get hurt. This is what he needs. The Alola Muck is pretty much good to go. It should be softened up to the point where it'll die, or if it stays in, it's not going to be able to switch back in. We do see it coming out right now. Look at all the damage it's taking, though. He's got to make sure that he can get the kills on here. If this is Assault Vest, it's sure as hell not going to take the hit very well. Actually, worst part is, if he doesn't kill with Volt Switch or T-Bolt, he's going to take a lot of damage. That could just be it, because that's his sweeping potential, and then Diego still has enough defensive Pokemon to just tank out the rest. Here we go. T-Bolt goes through. It is not enough as the Pursuit actually comes through. Nice prediction by Diego, knowing... But then again, if he had known the damage calc, he might have gone for the knockoff there. But either way, HP is going to come through as the Hippowdon now comes out. On the off chance you want to make the switch, makes complete sense. You might as well use the move that will kill, but will still cover the most Pokemon at the same time. We now see the Roserade come in, but the Whirlwind actually says, no, I'd rather fight a Fajita over here. As the Dragalge now comes in. Dragalge could be carrying something like Surf. It does get Aqua Tail, I believe, as well. But we do know it has the Dragon Tail, so you might try and spread some stuff out here. Barely lives that hit with the Earthquake from the Hippowdon. Ends up firing off a Draco. That's a lot of damage. That's actually really good now for the side of the New York Nidoran males. That's 2 Pokemon now he's been able to soften up. Let's take a look at the HP bars. Cresselia is asleep. Still has the opportunity to try and go for Rest Talk, or sorry, go for Sleep Talk into the Psycho Shift for the sleep. We do see Diego eating sand, though. Dagger should be proud of his son, as now the Palossand's going to come in. I have a feeling that it's not going to take a lot of damage, but the Cresselia is going to come in as the Earth Power Flyer is out. Interesting, special attacker. I don't actually know the exact stats on this, I just know that it's a defensive Pokemon. But here we go, he ends up pulling the rest as Shore Up actually comes through. Ooh. Shore Up is an attack I didn't know it got. But either way, he is going to get the Psycho Shift on that turn. Unfortunate for the Nidoran males. That is a very unlikely chance, as the Ice Beam is actually the last move that is going to come out here. So it's Rest Talk, Ice Beam, Psycho Shift. As we see the Shadow Ball fly through, it's going to be doing a lot of damage to Cresselia. It can go for Rest and try and get the Psycho Shift back on. Also, as a side note, to my knowledge, I believe you are allowed to Psycho Shift Rest, Psycho Shift Sleep, and it doesn't count as putting someone to sleep. I can't remember. I feel like that. No, I think it still counts. But either way, he is going to go for the Ice Beam. Oh, my God. Oh. 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 Why is that a big deal? Diego is now even safer to bring in Lycanroc after this. Oh, man. Now the problem is, he was going to take this thing out. That hurts. That killing off that Cresselia would have been great for him. That way he doesn't have to send this thing in trying to sweep it off with that, but could even brought in the Roserade later and things like that. But it is now up to the Mega Man trying to do as much damage as possible. The Powdon comes in. Most likely going to go for... Yeah, he's going to try and fake it, maybe make him not go for the HP, but instead he does end up keeping it in there, just letting the sand chip it away slowly. And I think Lycanroc's fast in this. Really unfortunate. Don't think it had an enormous factor on the match, but that freeze really does suck because it does mean that he has to take just that extra turn. I don't think it actually matters, but the Z move comes through, the Continental Crush to finish it, and ladies and gentlemen, at a time when the LA Ledians say, I want the top 2, he pulls through and essentially forces the Nidoran males to shove their way past the Arizona Articunos, or it's basically we know who's going to be in the top. GG. Not my brightest idea. Ha. quickly put this match down. Here we go. Here we go. I take it was a little too difficult for the LA Legends, or for the New York Nitter Males to find their way through. It definitely seems like Diego had most plans and the most preparation for that. Really unfortunate for Mitchie. I was really hoping that the walls would actually pull through for him and actually do a lot more and try and like stall out that lack of offense that we've seen on Sweet D's team. But yeah, you're good next, Rich. Don't worry about that. We can do you. I'm glad that you're here. Can you give me your pace spin really quick, or let me know where it is, please? That'd be great. Yeah, no, I mean, Diego bringing out that Sandcore, pulling a dagger, and this right in Season 3, right underneath our noses. That was well played by him. He just got the offense out, and I do think that the hazard stacking was the biggest deal and not being able to handle it. The mana buzz just being too much collateral just gets set up on and all these things. So it'll be on Discord. Thanks, Rich. So unfortunate, but you do got to give him credit for trying to do as much damage as possible. The plan was there. Soften everything up. Mega Manectric comes in and sweeps through. But that's something to keep in mind, because if he does end up having that, if he does end up having to fight him, because remember, second seed fights the tiebreaker, or fights the winner between third and sixth seed. So not telling Mitchie to sandbag, but if he does end up in that pool, it's really scary for him to actually have to deal with that. So have to see if he has an answer. Maybe in standard play he could do a little bit better, but for now, being teamed against, yeah, that's unfortunate. So with that, Diego will basically be taking, for the moment, first place with 14 points. But it does mean that Mitchie W has to hope that the Ottawa Centrets 2-0 the Arizona Articunos tonight, or he's got to hope that something crazy goes on next week. At this point, though, I think we might have our top 2 in Season 3. But stranger things have happened. Let's see what happens tonight, if the Arizona Articunos even show up. Who knows? Maybe Key to Succession will get his free wins right into the playoffs. Either way, though, let's move on to our next match of the night, the Arizona Articunos. No, I am stupid. It is W. Wellington versus the Houston Haluchas. I was looking at the Arizona Articunos. I've got Lord Scrubbington on the brain. Wellington not having a good couple of weeks, dropping 2-0s left and right, literally dropping it last week against the LA Legends. Definitely not his greatest time, but it is going to be up to him now to take the wins from here and just, you know, try and get himself back into it, try and catch himself back in. We basically said the Houston Haluchas are going to have a similar way to play like the LA Legends, very strong defensive core and things like this, although we do give credit to Ivan's team, because W. Wellington just has a better built team overall, just has more threats than we felt. We've been talking about the Houston Haluchas and saying that it's a good team, it's a very good player, but the draft doesn't necessarily match the player, right? Unfortunately, with that Shedinja and Glalie still lasting here, we don't see much coming out from it except for the same 6 Pokemon. You can see by the usage stats, there are a lot of Pokemon there he's just not considering using until maybe the playoffs and stuff like this. So either being mysterious, but if he's going to be mysterious, he's got to start putting up numbers now, because he is at risk between what can actually happen here. If he's looking at his points, he's got 6 points, right? Any more loss of points and any more gains from the New York Ninetales or for the Ottawa Centrets could kick him out of the playoffs. So he does have to start collecting some points here. But at this point, we are hoping that Ivan can quickly try and do the exact same thing he tried to do against the LA Legends. Try and set up, get the walls down, similar to what Mitchie tried to do today against him, and have a better time with it. I do feel like this wall comp of the Mega Sableye, Milotic, and Rotom Heat's a little bit less oppressive than something like Chestnut, Zapdos, and Hippowdon mixed with maybe Cofagrigus or Cresselia, right? There are less options that Ivan had to deal with, so if he's planned more around Inner Fury this week, he might have a better idea on how to do his movesets. We questioned the ICMZ last week. We knew it was for the Kingdra after discussing it, but I do believe that with more preparation, understanding now how to play his comp against a defensive team. We have seen defense reign supreme in this tournament, but now I think after all these weeks, especially going into the playoffs, right, you might not have an idea on what to do, but once you enter standard playoff play, and I'm not saying that everyone's going to have a standard Smogon moveset, but once you start seeing how everybody's been playing week after week after week, you start to understand patterns, and the pattern that we see from the Houston Haluchas is the most consistent with not changing up the moves, right? We now see the haze on the Milotic. We're seeing certain builds come out. Not too much is switched up, right? Not necessarily to the fault of Inert Fury, but certainly interested to see if the Houston Haluchas have had an opportunity to think about this one, because I do think this is a big opportunity for Ivan to try and kick down the Houston Haluchas. But at the same time, the pressure is on Rich. He needs those points. He needs to stay top 6. Considering what the rankings have been looking like, I hope that he has thought this one through, because relying on play alone, I would usually say maybe against a lower seed, maybe against the Galissa Padres, he can go with whatever team he wants. No offense to World Leader, but I do think that he's just got outplays for days. We saw him lose to a Scarf Togekiss. We saw him lose to when he tricked the Scarf over to Togekiss, got hacks to death. Gotta have an answer to that. Not that you can have an answer to all forms of hacks. Look at Mitchie tonight. But, I don't know. I think he has to take Ivan seriously. And if he wants to keep those points up there, he's got to start grabbing. Even a point will keep him safe, right? But at this point, 6 points is a very risky situation. A 2-0 from the Ottawa Centrets or the New York Ninetales can basically shoot him up into the top 6 and kick him down in contention to potentially lose that, depending on the performance of everybody else. Mitchie is basically... I think you've been haxed every week, Mitchie. The fact that you're 3rd place and you've had some form of hacks against you every week. I think last week was when he basically said you broke out of that slump and just basically got your luck back. And then you get hacks tonight. Although I don't think that freeze was incredibly huge. I think it would have meant that you killed the Cresselia off. But it would have been a potential that you could kill one more thing. But in the end, the sand did get you. Unfortunate. Why do I have Steam open? That would be a problem. In the meantime, while we wait for this match, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out again. The ProPokeBowl is a staple in the channel. And I do appreciate each and every one of you that spend the time to watch this, whether you are a player or just a viewer and like the sound of my commentary or just like the thrill of the battles. I hope you guys are enjoying it. And this is definitely going to be something that you can expect on the future. As well as I mentioned before, there might be even future mini tournaments in between to keep you hyped for Showdown development and stuff like that. So, once W. Wellington returns from his bathroom break, we're getting right into it. Oh my god, it's like I'm a psychic or something. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. Can the... the Houston Haluchas grab some more points, bring themselves back to where we expected them to be in the tournament, or will W. Wellington break out of a slump? This is kind of important for both players this week. I think for Ivan, it's definitely a confidence booster for the Los Haluchadores. I'm not Spanish, I'm sorry. It's going to be a big deal for them to just try and gain the points here. We know that Inner Fury is really good at battling. We know that Ivan's really good at battling. I'm expecting good things out of this match. Let's take a look at the team comps. Well, it's Donphan versus Sableye. Definitely cannot fall for the magic bounce. If he's falling for it, that's not a good sign for him. We actually see what the... Wow. That is a Mega Sableye turn 1 move if I've ever seen it. I'm saying it, boys. That's a tech right there. That is a play rough on Donphan. What on earth am I looking at? Screw the team comps. I'm seeing a Mega Anti-Sableye substitute play rough. Oh my god. That's amazing. A crit will still kill from that range. Surprisingly, if he does the same melt, the 42 to 43%, he will kill with a crit. He does have to be pensive here, though, because if he does get burned, it's going to ruin it. But the Celebi's going to come through as a substitute. Now comes out. If this is a nasty plot Celebi, Donphan better have knockoff or Ice Shard on it, otherwise it's going to have a problem killing this thing off. We do know that Rich runs this defensive setup Celebi, sometimes just setting up in general, but he still has the Stealth Rocks on it, so now we know he's either running Stealth Rock or Rapid Spin on his Donphan, or he's got to be splitting up his moves here. When you're going substitute play rough, he's got to have Earthquake, right? If he doesn't have Stab, he's definitely brought this specifically for Mega Sableye, which could make him weak when he's trying to take out, well, not really much else. So he's not in the worst position to actually run no Earthquake, just saying. But Delphox is going to come in right before the Stealth Rock setup, so we see rocks on either side. The Milotic is going to come in, can take up pretty much anything Delphox wants to go for. That Psyshock does a fair amount of damage, though. We don't see Flame Orb this week, so not going to be activating that Marvel Scale. Now, Delphox does, I believe, get Energy Ball and also gets, I think, Grass Knot? Can't remember, but definitely can run with that. Sawshock comes through, is not going to get the kills. The recovery's going to come through. So far we're seeing that Ivan's team is kind of falling a little bit short of damage, but he's definitely putting the pressure down. He's telling you got to heal up and start taking damage. I do suspect that he's going to switch maybe into the Rotom Heat right now. He actually ends up switching to Mega Sableye because he is immune. Thinking out loud here. Oh, vanilla tea with honey. Beautiful. Either way, though, he is going to be taking him down. Sounds good, Mitch. I'll take that down right after. Just remind me if you don't mind, please. Oh, we're lagging a bit. Face off. Either way. Why do I lag? I'm on Ethernet. Hello? I got like 100 download. Anyways, well, Showdown proves to be as much of a baked potato as mine. He actually has the Dazzling Gleam, and he predicts and goes for the Will-O-Wisp. Wow, there are a lot of mind games. I don't know why that Will-O-Wisp actually came out. Maybe predicting the Donphan to come back in, but either way, though, he gets away with the Dazzling Gleam. But so far, we've seen a lot of information sparked out here from Ivan. Definitely give him the week where he can prepare for one opponent. He's gotten Rich's number so far. That Donphan, though, we'll talk about more after the battle, but for now, the Mega Sableye is suffering. If it tries to go for the cover, it is going to be killed off, so this thing is essentially rock fodder, as Flamethrower is going to come through. Good to note that it does have Flamethrower and not Fire Blast. Is a difference in damage numbers. Does know that the Flamethrower will be enough. Generally, if you want to hide it. Ooh, oh my dear God, yeah, that's going to kill it. Assault Vest. Good to note, actually. Good scouting by Inert Fury to go for the knockoff. It makes the most sense, but it does help him note that does have Assault Vest, so that's good to know if he's going to try and get scalded by something like a Milotic, or he's going to get switched by something via Rotom Heat. That's good damage indications for him to think about that. So, Donphan is going to come back in. He's actually, I think what what Ivan's trying to do is to scout to see if this thing is choiced, but definitely from that range, knockoff will kill. So I don't know what he's actually trying to go for here. I don't know if he can actually take this hit. If he's thought this one through, it's definitely not going to help him. Yeah, it's just going to kill him off. So he does actually see a Lumberry on the Donphan, so Substitute and Lumberry. Essentially, like, Mega Sableye could do nothing to that. Trying to scare him off. How you doing, Acrolance? Heliolisk is now going to come in. It's not going to be faster unless it's Scarfed, and I don't think it can kill from there unless it's got, like, HP Fighting. I think it actually gets Focus Blast, so I'm stupid. But either way, could also go for, like, Stab Hyper Voice. That would definitely kill the Weavile for sure. Any hit really will kill off the Weavile at this range. I feel like Volt Switch should as well, but if this thing is Scarfed, right? If it's not Scarfed, Weavile will still outspeed. Could just go for Knockoff again. Will kill the Heliolisk for sure. Kind of still curious about that Donphan play. Maybe he thought he honestly could have taken it. Definitely not at that range, because, I mean, Weavile hurts, and it is Knockoff. Knockoff's broken. Volt Switch actually ends up coming out as we see a switch to the Celebi. The Nidoking will now come through, definitely carrying Sludge Wave or something of the sort just to get the extra damage out. Potentially Life Orb mixed with Sheer Force just adds a ton of pressure, and now the Mega Sableye is pretty much down. Something's going to have to take this hit. Celebi maybe outspeed. Actually, Celebi, if it's running max speed, it will outspeed and be able to go for the Psychic. Did we see what other moves are on this? We've seen Stealth Rock, but I mean, sometimes you can run max speed on your Celebi and still run things like Stealth Rock. You know, Stealth Rock 3 attacks is not the worst thing with max speed because this thing can run U-turn. So, let's see what type of EV spread he's been bringing here. We definitely know he's naturally faster than the Nidoking. So it doesn't actually give us enough information if we see Nidoking outspeed because it could just be more a defensive Celebi. But if we don't see him outsped, Sludge Wave actually doesn't do that much damage. The Psychic comes through. Doesn't kill him off either, so good for Ivan at least. He does soften up that Celebi. That's going to help him in the future. But at the same time, he's going to be able to take out the Celebi, so that's a good thing. Nidoking is softened, though. It will be able to come in at least 2 more times on those rocks. So not all bad news for W. Wellington. Definitely taking a lead here, 4-4, but I feel like he's gotten a little more work done. Taking out, 2 important defensive walls. But at the same time, it does make me question whether or not there's just less EVs put into Celebi's speed, or if this Nidoking is actually Scarfed. I'm curious to see if he sends out something like, what's the Milotic's health at? Not great. Rotom Heat. He could send in something like Rotom Heat or Honchkrow to kind of scout. If he does have, I actually send Milotic. I guess it can take it. Milotic is naturally just a giant fat ass. This won't actually tell him if it's Scarfed or not, but maybe based on the damage he can tell. I feel like if it had Life Orb, it should have did a lot more damage to that Celebi, unless it's especially defense invested. I don't know. I'm a little out of tune with the damage calcs these days. Not used to seeing a Celebi getting slapped by a Sludge Wave, so. Now, Mega Horn Nidoking. That's a thing. Anyways. Milotic is most likely, if not absolutely going to tank it up. Actually, the good thing about this play now I'm thinking about it is he's scouting to see if he switches up moves. Because if he switches to T-Bolt, that definitely confirms he's not Scarfed. So if he is Scarfed, and based on damage we are considering that it might be, he's going to have to switch out now. So W. Wellington thinking about what they can actually do here. Perhaps Heliolisk has Dry Skin. That would make sense. They'd be able to take on the Milotic and definitely threaten, can switch in on and be good. But at the same time, we've seen Inert run Ice Beam almost all the time. You actually are going to see the switch into the T-Bolt from Nidoking, and the recover does come through. That Milotic is super, super fat. So that's actually not going to be worth it for him, but it actually didn't even look like that was... If that was Life Orb damage, that is extremely sad. It actually makes a question whether or not it even has EVs in that Nidoking. Interesting. I'm going to take a little look. I'm not cheating. I'm the commentator. I'm allowed to look at the information. But either way, Thunderbolt's going to come through. Does get a nice crit. Dragon Tail actually comes out. Interesting choice. Maybe expecting him to switch, but it does bring in the Terrakion. 51%? You might be able to kill. With close combat, we don't see Marvel Scale activated. This might be good for Ivan to go for. Although, I wouldn't necessarily take the risk. This thing's usually run defensively, right? So... It could be an AV Nidoking for all we know, Diego. For all we know. Wouldn't put it past Ivan even in the playoffs. I really need damage calcs. At this point, though, it's got to be Rotom Heat or Milotic taking a close combat if he does end up staying in here. But I mean, Terrakion is a threat that he has brought in. Alternatively, we could see him just try and go for Dragon Tail, maybe scout to see how much damage the Terrakion's going to be doing. We don't know if it's choiced in any way, if it's going to be a standard Swords Dance set that we've seen from Ivan bringing out quite a bit. We've usually seen him... bring Sweeping Manaphy and Sweeping Terrakion, so... We've only seen, I think, Scarf Terrakion once. I can't remember, once or twice. We've seen it. I feel like he has brought it once. But let's see what he's going to do. Right now, it is currently 4-4. Both on the line for some points here. Similar to the LA Legends versus New York Nidoran males. Both very important to try and grab at least a point off. Fortunately, it ended up supporting Diego much more. Ivan has not used a Z move yet, which makes me think... I feel like the Pokemon that he brought today, it could have either been Delphox having a Z move, or it's going to be Manaphy with the Z Rain Dance. I feel like that Manaphy needs to set up more, so I think he might put the Z move on that. It's easier for him to set it up with. But either way, a close combat does come through. The Milotic is taken out. That's a lot of power he's going to have to deal with, but now I do feel like the Rotom Heat can come in. Most likely defensive he's going to be doing this. Try and go for a Will-O-Wisp. Try and soften this thing up. I don't know what else to expect, though, as the Volt Switch actually comes through. That is faster. That is a Scarfed Rotom Heat. Interesting. All right, so we see a Scarfed Rotom Heat coming out. That is a lot of damage done to Terrakion. But the thing is, he stayed in. He doesn't care. That Honchkrow now has to come in with rocks and take close combat. That's gonna hurt. Ivan, the one who's brought Icium Z, yes. But most times we see Waterium Z for Z Rain Dance. But anyway, the Honchkrow's got to come in. Here it comes. The Stone Edge makes perfect sense here. Takes out the Honchkrow. Oh my god. Weavile now comes in. It can't go for Naga. This thing's going to have to go for Icicle Crash. Even, does Ice Shard kill from there? Doesn't have to. He can go for Icicle Crash. He outspeeds. If he misses, though, that's basically curtains. Because I do feel like he can still outspeed and kill everything off. But if this thing is choiced, he's going to have to find a way to get back in with the Manaphy. And if he's running a Z move, that Z-Stone's going to boost up Knockoff. So all he has to do is get the damage off with potentially Rotom Heat. He's going to be good because it is a Scarf Rotom Heat, which means it will outspeed the Manaphy. He definitely could. I mean, it's... Generally speaking, Z-Stones can either buff your stab move, or it can be something like what you see Grassium Z Solar Beam on Heatran, right? It could do something like that for you where it just covers. But Knockoff, wow, Knockoff actually kills from there. Knocks off the Lumberry. Ooh, okay, so good information to note. This is actually scary because I think he just wins from here. Maybe, if the Manaphy can live this... If the Manaphy can live this knockoff, I don't know if it can. It just barely lives. Did he actually end up going for the attack? He does. He takes out the Weavile, the Rindoberry. No Z-Stone? They might be on Delphox then. I don't know. That's going to take out the Weavile. Oh my god. I got to question whether instead of going for that recover on the Delphox, if he didn't go for that prediction Will-O-Wisp, that's going to be different. But Rotom Heat's in here. We know it's Scarf. The problem is he's got to lock himself into something. He's going to have to hope that he gets like a Overheat crit on the Heliolisk. Actually, if he goes for it now, he'll be at -2. If it's Dry Skin, it will take 25% increased damage from it. So maybe he just goes for it, risks it, tries to get the kill with it, tries to kill it. He's going to have to do it, though. Nidoking is dead. It comes down to this Overheat hit. Unless he ends up going for Trick. We've seen him use Trick before, but Surf's coming out from Manaphy, so it doesn't make any sense. He's got to lock himself into Overheat here. It is end up going to be instead an HP something. HP Grass? Nidoking comes through, kills itself off. Ivan knows it comes down to this. It must be HP Grass, because it's not going to do anything to this. And ladies and gentlemen, as he brought it through, Surf comes out. It kills off the Rotom Heat. What on earth? Ivan takes game 1. Unbelievable game, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely a back and forth. I do think, though, this might be one of those matchups where now Rich knows what he's up against. He is most certainly ready for that Donphan. So let's talk about that Donphan really quickly. Oops. There we go. Let's talk about this Donphan really quickly. So, with that Donphan, basically it was running Substitute to stop the Will-O-Wisp. It's running Play Rough to take down the Mega Sableye. It also had a Lumberry on it. So we saw 2 Lumberries on the side of Ivan. I actually like this choice. The main reason being, we know that, again, Inert Fury has a lot of status. He's been working off burning people. He's burning off paralyzing people. So why not just bring that and just go from there? So I like what he did. I definitely like what he brought this time. And I do think that if it's going to come to switch with the Houston Haluchas, we've said this before, his switching options are not that great. But we did see the Weavile almost get away with it. The Scarfed Rotom Heat is going to be the thing he's locked into. But I do think that if he was in a different situation where he had more damage going down, I do feel like maybe the Overheat was the better play. Because if that thing was Dry Skin, most times I think he has been running Dry Skin on his Heliolisk. I could be wrong. I would assume that he is running it, but I feel like that was his best chance instead of going for that HP Grass. But maybe, I mean, even if he didn't have Surf on his Heliolisk, Hyper Voice, anything else that would still, I think, still win the damage war. It could also be just Inert Fury hiding the damage calculations from Ivan for game 2 because, you know, at that point you realize he's licked, might as well take the loss and then come back game 2, try and take that point back anyways to try and stay relevant in the tournament. But that's got some again, I can't stop saying it. This always has implications for these players because the points are so close. Now he's down a point. If he loses 2-0 here, there's a link at the bottom. If you go to Teams and Battles down in the ProPokeBowl section, Frank, you can take a look at every week. Week 5, I have to put up the times in the VODs, but just go back to the VODs. We actually streamed it today. You can go take a look at it and just look at those battles from last week because the uploads weren't working. I have a feeling it was because of my computer not loading them, but yeah, I definitely think Ivan came in here with a game plan, and it worked, and I think that cheese that he got is going to earn him that extra point, that little bit more dignity and confidence going into game number 2. But most times that we've thought about this, we've always said, right, if it's something like the LA Ledians, they lose a match to something like that, game 2, they know exactly what to do against that, and I think actually in this tournament more than others, we've seen a demonstration from pretty much all the players. Whenever they are experiencing that kind of cheese, they know what to bring in game 2, whether they lost or won against it. Adaptation has been a big deal in this tournament. That's what makes me really excited for the playoffs. We see all these different playstyles. We see all these different new Pokemon, all these different movesets coming in. That it's, I don't know. It's certainly interesting. No problem, Frank. No, you've lost more matches before, Diego. When did you lose both games? You haven't lost both games. You're the only player who has never lost 2-0. Oh, you're talking about game 1 specifically. Yeah, no, most times you come out swinging with a good game plan. That's why I think you're the hell are you talking? Yeah, game number 1. The first game of the night. For you, yes. But that's why we always talk about people like, well, I honestly want to tell it to Inner Fury. I also want to say it to the likes of Sweet D, and even to an extent Scrubbington, but not nearly as good. I actually am going to give it more credit to Mitchie, because I think that they are definitely the players that can innovate in the second game and bring out something that's going to give them that upper hand against stuff like what Ivan just brought. So definitely might not be able to get through it. But certainly, I'm interested to see what Inner Fury is going to be bringing out for this particular round against that Dawn fan. And whether or not Ivan's even going to bring that Dawn fan becomes a little bit of game of chicken here, because since he has the time to prepare this, and he's prepared it specifically for Inner Fury, one has to question whether or not, because this is where the mind games come down. If you have that Dawn fan, you know that something's going to be brought for that Dawn fan to completely stop that moveset, or at least hinder that moveset from working all the time. Do I see Mega Sableye being taken off the team? I don't think so. Do I see Donphan being taken off the team? It could be. I think definitely he's put some fear into Inner Fury. But at the same time, I think if anything, he's got to look for the checks to that Donphan set, because that Donphan definitely is missing something, whether it being Rapid Spin or Knockoff. I have a feeling it has Earthquake just for the stab, but I mean, like I said, it could have gotten away with a moveset that didn't have its own stab moves, because, well, Earthquake wasn't going to help him in any situation unless he somehow got a hit off of Weavile or some crap like that. So we could see Knockoff on that moveset, but again, that's where it comes down to, instead of Ivy necessarily reading, is he going to take out Mega Sableye? Because chances are, he's not. Instead, will we see something that will check that Donphan? We're about to find out, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 2 in the second series of the night between the Los Haluchadores, the Houston Haluchas on the far side, and our one-up champion right now, W Wellington, 1-0 on the week so far. We do see that Miltank coming in. We see the Florge coming in from Ivan too, though, so has taken out... Interesting, he has taken out that Donphan and brings the Florge in instead. I think Inner Fury comes out on top here, because that Donphan was the thing handling Sableye, like we said, right? Sableye doesn't seem to be leaving that team, but that Miltank seems to have something to answer about that thing. Maybe he thinks that he could take more hits up, try and slam. But either way, Tracheon's going to lead against that Sableye. I don't know about this. He could just waste the Lumberry right now, knowing he will take out the Mega Sableye, but that Stone Edge will do a lot of damage this time. So let's see what he's actually going to end up doing here. I do think that if he's going to send out a Tracheon, this would mean that he's going to lead offensively on the side of W Wellington. It could definitely do a lot of damage. Milotic could probably tank the hit. It's got all its health now, so... However, whether he has the, whether he has the Honchkrow or the Miltank, it's still not an answer to the Stone Edge. So Tracheon being that giant-ass threat that Inner Fury is trying to figure out how to handle right now, so... Oh god, Frank, I don't even know how to play this. I mean, I know still how to battle, but, I mean... My days of glory, that's why I put in quotation, boys, before you're like, yeah, I've watched you forever, you're not in your glory ever, but... My days of glory have kind of fallen. I mostly just have game knowledge and game sense of what I'd be looking for, right? I'm not like Diego where I can read 3-4 turns ahead. I could do maybe 2-3 max. Maybe. Like I could read a couple of turns in advance. But most of the time my issue is I don't build a team correctly. But if someone gives me, like if Scrubbington or Diego give me a team that plays in my style, I could probably play it out and I could play really well. It's just most times I get weakened with trying to build my own team. Either way, though, here we go. Stone Edge doing absolutely nothing that Sableye, and actually gets the Lumberry instantly away from it. This is not good for Ivan. If he expected more damage, that did not hurt. So, Lumberry has been burned. He got his one warning. Recover can come out now on the Stone Edge. I do expect him to go for the Will-O-Wisp, though. Mainly because he knows that he does get the burn off. He can go for the Recover afterwards and be completely fine and scout out what Ivan's going to switch to next. So I don't even think this Tracheon... If he expected to do more damage, I expect to do a little more damage, but I forget that Mega Sableye is a giant fat rupee. So he's going to make the switch now. Helios is going to come in on the Will-O-Wisp. That's perfectly fine for Ivan. This thing doesn't care about being burned. It's a special attacker. The nice thing here, though, is he is going to end up going for Protect, as we do see the Volt Switch come through. Now, this thing, we didn't know if it's Scarfed or not, but looks like it might be, actually. That Volt Switch is absolutely nothing, so we're definitely going to see a Recover come out from the side of Sableye. He could also go for the knockoff, but I feel like why even take that risk right now? Stay fat with the Mega Sableye and just go from there. Flourish is going to come out. Ooh, knockoff on that would have been nice right away, but he knows that he can still do it. He's going to have more than enough HP to take a Moonblast and then proceed to go for a knockoff here. Even just go for Recovers. Maybe, I'm not exactly sure how he wants to approach this one. He might even just switch out now into like a Rotom Heat. Switch out into actually Celebi, because Celebi can take the Moonblast. Proceed to go for a Stealth Rock. Maybe try and have some U-turn shenanigans. We didn't see him use it before, but it was also in a situation where Psychic made a lot more sense. We do see the Moonblast comes through the Milotic. It does come out. This Milotic could be carrying Toxic. This could be the reason he's going for it. Dragon Tail actually won't touch this. He misses the Toxic. Come on, man. Oh, the cruel world of Pokemon, ladies and gentlemen, as he's going to get that extra turn on Milotic. That works definitely in Ivan's favor, but that Toxic would have been nice on the Flourish. We don't know if he's running Aromatherapy or not. I feel like Ivan definitely would, though. I don't know why. If he's bringing double Lumberry, Ivan seems to be the type of player where he would bring that safety if he could. Protect actually comes through, so at this point, if he's got Protect, he's most likely carrying Wish. Might just be the Wish Pass set, so either way, he's going to get the Toxic on the Celebi. Celebi does get Natural Cure, though, so this is going to mean absolutely nothing. It just means that Celebi wants to stand and do something, which is not going to. I think it was just trying to set up to lower the Toxic ticks on Milotic. We could see something like Miltank come in, maybe? I don't know. At this point, he's kind of stuck in a situation where he's got to start taking a lot of Toxic, or he's got to start hurting this Flourish to force Ivan to switch it out. So this Forge actually getting a little more value than I thought it would. I thought it was just getting, I mean, the Toxic Miss really does suck for Inert Fury. That did mean a big deal because now the Forge feels a lot safer going for the Toxic, so this is a stinker for sure. We're not too sure what's going to be happening here. Ooh. Heal Bell on the Celebi, and the Wish is in fact revealed. So we called that one. It's going to be a Wish Passer. Interesting. So Heal Bell on Celebi, that wasn't revealed in the other match. Interesting. So he felt that he had to be more aggressive and stuff like that. Didn't get it down. He's going to go for the Psychic now. It's not going to do any damage as the Toxic ends up coming out. So the funny thing is, he could just try and waste his Heal Bells. I don't think he has to because he has Natural Cure, but the important thing is Milotic is not Toxic. So he probably just didn't have a good opportunity to use Heal Bell in the beginning, right? That's what I feel like it could be. But either way, we are going to see him go for the Heal Bell yet again. See the Moonblast fly out. Ooh, that's a lot of damage. They're probably trying to bounce the Toxic back. That's a nice play by Ivan, actually, to have that effectively handled. But he's going to do a lot of damage. We do see a double switch now into the Miltank. He could easily eat up that Moonblast. Yum Yum. Go for the Body Slam, probably. This thing actually could have Iron Head. I think this thing gets Iron Head or Iron Tail. That might be why he's bringing it. I don't know. We actually don't know why the Miltank's coming out here. Probably just a better thing than the Honchkrow, trying to get himself some value. But that Moonblast on the Mega Sableye was an excellent call by Ivan, so good for him. Could have also just gotten tired of using Toxics on a Celebi. I was just going to heal it off anyways, but let's see what he's going to go into right now. W Wellington up 1-0 on week 6 of the 3rd season of the ProPokeBowl. It's on Inert to take a point away from good old Ivan here. Keep himself viable and relevant in the tournament points-wise, but also to keep Ivan from climbing up. At this point, playing a bit of spoiler while trying to support yourself, it sounds like a double whammy. Good for everybody. Right now, he's got to figure it out. This Miltank's not going to be able to do too much to the Florge. I feel like if he had Iron Tail, he would have clicked it by now. We don't actually see the battle. The battle is not on, so... We do see the Body Slam come through. There's a lot of freaking damage to the Miltank after rocks. That was a two-shot even without the rocks. Interesting. So Delphox is going to come in. We know it has Flamethrower. We haven't seen a Z move come out. I do suspect this thing might have that. But, actually, no, we saw Assault Vest on the Delphox, didn't we? Wasn't it knocked off? I don't know if it was knocked off or if he even has Assault Vest. I don't know. I feel like it does. Psyshock comes out again. We've seen this same old song and dance before. It goes on the Milotic, does that 42% damage. Meaning of Life, hitting it with Psyshock. Softens it up again. We see the Recover yet again come through. So this makes me think that he's not running Energy Ball or he's not running Grass Knot, because he can just keep going for the recovers here, take the hits, now pretty much heal up to full, and then blast him from here, right? He's at full. He's going to be able to take the 40%, and then now go for the Skull to take this thing out. Exactly what he wants it done. This Delphox was not the most value, but definitely did cause Milotic to be in a worse situation in Game 1. Not so much in Game 2, though. Ivan recognizes that he's pretty much stuck with these rocks anyways, so he might as well just go in. So Inert Fury definitely taking advantage of a good situation there where he's got the rocks up, has him trapped, says, got him, gets his Milotic at a much higher amount of HP than last game when this Delphox fell. So that's a good thing for him. So we're seeing clean play out of, actually, Inert Fury a little more than W. Wellington in the second match. A little bit of questionable on that Terrakion lead now that we see the damage that the Stone Edge does, but still not out of it in the slightest. Heal List comes in. Volt Switch is free, although Milotic at that health will be able to take it, right? We saw how much damage it was tanking up before. It will be able to take the Volt Switch, which means we could probably just see a Recover come through. So I feel like Ivan should go for the Thunderbolt. Crit's close. Thunderbolt might have not killed, actually. 70-90, actually, it would have been close either way, but the Recover does come through. We do see a Florge come in. I don't think this is worth it for Ivan, because now he's just exchanging Toxic. He actually ends up going for Wish instead. So now Milotic gets that free Recover. I don't agree with that play, though. That's a bit of a risky one, because I know he's going for the heal, and instead he actually ends up tanking the Scald, goes for the Toxic now, so he's going to get the Poison on the Milotic at the slightest. But the Celebi still has Heal Bell. Florge is now Toxic, and the thing that he got away with before was the fact that he haxed out and blocked or dodged that first Toxic. So he had that advantage in that sense, thank you, Pokemon, but he's gonna, I guess, feel empathy and give it back to Inert the way he deserved it, so this is bad because we know he is not running Aromatherapy. He doesn't have anything on his team that can have Aromatherapy. He might have, like, Heal Bell and Heliolisk. I think that thing gets that. I don't know. I feel like it does. But yeah, Celebi comes in, tanks the Moonblast, goes for Heal Bell, switches itself out, might even be carrying Recover of its own, and just go from there, right? If we haven't seen U-Turn yet, I feel like it could be carrying Recover easily, or it could be carrying Giga Drain. But the Nidakig's gonna barely freaking live. That's Psychic. Super, super lucky for W. Wellington, but definitely not in the place he wants to be. Good to know. Thanks, Diego. As the Mega Sableye is going to come in, the Sludge Wave comes through, kills off the Mega Sableye. It's worth it for him, right? He's got a Celebi in perfect situation here. Weavile, though, gets to go for free knockoffs now. I don't think Ivan's got the same control he had before, and it's the fact that he has Rindo Berry on his Manaphy. He doesn't have, like, any way to just set up and be faster than this. I think that might have been an oversight here. We do see it handling the Celebi, but the problem is I think the Z-move would have just been good again. Perhaps a bit of too much experimentation from W. Wellington. Berry Master getting his garden a little crapped on right now. And not with the good manure. We're talking like grade E manure, not the grade A stuff. Not from the pure and the best cows in the world. Can't remember. What's the best manure? Is it goat manure? Or sheep manure? Sheep manure is the best manure, actually. That's the grade A sheep manure. If you guys, in case you are having a garden, apparently sheep manure is the best one for it. The sheep manure is the best thing in the world. Sip. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. Either way, though, Weavile, we haven't seen its move yet. We assume it's banded. We know that it could just get away with it. Mert Fury's gotten away with it every single week, where he just gets his Weavile in the right situation, just goes, hey, band knockoff. That hurts. So, did end up going for the Ice Shard, though. I don't curse often, Frank. If you knew me in real life, though, I curse quite a bit. Well, I try not to. It just, you know, stupid mood genie. Anyways, Swords Dance. Whoa. Okay. We see the recover finally revealed, which is what I predicted to be on this. So that Stone Edge did 30%. The Stone Edge will do now 60%, 90% with a crit. And it's got Psychic, which is going to hurt Terrakion. Oh, and he misses too! Oh my god! This has gone from bad to worse for W. Wellington. This is really not looking good now. Not even getting that hit on it? Yikes. That definitely has to be the curtains now for W. Wellington. That's an unfortunate... A little bit of hacks here and there for both players, but in the end, I really do think Ivan's choices and getting that Game 1 win, we've seen him do it before. Back in Season 2, he did the same thing, right? He would get those Game 1 wins, then get adapted to Game number 2. Lo and behold, he just concedes, hides his cards, folds, doesn't want to lose anymore, and says, GG, Houston, I'll give you a 1-1. It's the least I can do. Well played by both players, though. I really do think that, in the end, Rich just played a little better in game number 2. Definitely pulled it out in the end, so... I'm going to call it a tactical surrender. Definitely, because... Especially now we're actually getting closer to the end of the season. This is now the time to start hiding anything in particular that you're going to bring out in the playoffs if you know you're going to be there, right? Yeah, exactly, Frank. Totally you. You will probably be next once Arizona Arcos come here, because neither... Hey, where's Mitch, Diego? Where's Numbers Mitch? Because he hasn't talked to me. I'm actually surprised neither of them are here. But either way, we are going to take a break before we continue. But before that, let's take a look at the rankings after those 2 series. No problem, Diego. We're going to take a excuse me, a short break because I am losing my throat a bit. I'm losing my voice. So let's take it easy on that for sure. But after doing all of this, let's take a look at the standings right now. With that 2-0 victory for the LA Legends, they currently sit in first place with the 14 points, but even a 1-1 tonight for the Arizona Articunos will net the Arizona Articunos to get back there. But for now, they sit in second place. New York Nidoran Males, with that, stay in third place. But with that 1-1 with W. Wellington, this is looking pretty good for the Nidoran Males to hope that the Ottawa Centrals 2-0 the Articunos tonight. That gives him a chance next week. He is up against the Houston Haluchas. If Mitchie can do something against Richie, well, he can actually potentially take second seed. It does require, though, that it's actually blocked here, that the Arizona Arcos lose to W. Wellington. So actually, with the results right now of the 1-1, Ivan now controls the destiny of both himself and the Arizona Arcos and the New York Nidoran Males, depending on how he does. And the Ottawa Centrets also have a little bit of their part to try and upset the ranks a little bit here. It will still help them to get the points, but if you're looking at the top 4 even, there are still a lot of volatile points that can be shifted around here. So, super interesting. But even with that, though, we still see W. Wellington sitting in 4th, and Houston Haluchas sitting in 5th. Very interesting development with those 1-1s and 2-0s tonight. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a few minutes. Thank you very much for watching. When we return, we will see we'll see the Arizona Articunos up against the Ottawa Centrets and the Galissa Padres, hopefully, up against the New York Ninetales. As a side note, if neither player show up, neither of them get any points, and they are not allowed to make it up. We had the same ruling last week when we had to unfortunately take it out. This will also be a warning to the Glissa Padres with missing more than 2 matches, which is missing more than 25%. As in the rules, if you do miss more, you instantly concede any potential chance that you have at continuing in the tournament. Which would essentially mean that whoever's up against that does give, well, the LA Legends a free 3 points. So we have to make sure he comes back. Hopefully he shows up tonight. If he doesn't, well, then we gotta go from there. But thank you very much for watching. We'll be right back after this short break. You guys are beautiful. And just before I stand up, Booze Fox, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate the support, friend. Welcome to the ProPokeBowl. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for your patience. We are going to get into the third match of the night, which is going to be the Arizona Articunos versus the Ottawa Centrets. High hopes here for the Ottawa Centrets to try and make it into the tournament after Coach Key Succession taking it on in order for them to try and get themselves into the top 6. Arizona Articunos, now seeing that they are no longer in the top position, definitely looking to take at least one game off. You're trying to tie up with the LA Legends, or just take the 2-0 and keep himself that much further ahead from the likes of... Oops, I gotta change something here. Ah, there we go. Try and get their points back, try and grab the first seed. Of course, the first, second seed, some people might look and go, well, it's not that big of a deal. It is when it comes to the playoffs format. Playing against the winner between 3rd and 6th seed is not nearly as good as playing against the winner between the 4th and the 5th seed. Generally speaking, of course, as we said in the past, these types of situations never really mattered too much, but now we're looking at a nice, solid, sturdy tournament. Ending up against, you're literally choosing between Mitch and potentially Rich versus Ivan and other Mitch. This is getting a little scary, and if the Ottawa Centers make their way up, it will be Frank in that match against the 2nd seed. So whether or not you want to end up risking all that and losing it in there in the end is all up to you, right? This is why we obviously say you want to try and get high up there as possible, or try and play spoiler for each other, right? You really want to try and get these players into a position where they're going to have to play against these people that are not going to work well enough. Am I saying sandbag? No. Am I saying hack the system and make sure that they try and end up in a certain seed? Absolutely not. But for sure, it's going to matter on, wanting to try and be in the best position they could possibly be. And for the Arizona Articunos, is definitely going to be holding it. When we talked about the teams last week, we essentially said before he picked up the Electro that his team just seems a lot more sturdy and has more set-up sweeps. Whereas we're looking at the side of the Ottawa Centers. The Ottawa Centers are more about having the hyper-aggressiveness. And whether or not it can keep up to speed with the Arizona Articunos, I believe it can. So I'm very interested to see what speed of match we're going to be up against here. Arizona Articunos don't have necessarily they have the Amoonguss, the Gramble, and the Bronzong, which I think might be more than enough to handle the Centrets. But I mean, the Centrets have such a flexibility in their offensive strategies that I think they can actually maybe pull out having some advantages here, Sneasel being one of them. And to handle the Conkeldurr, we do have the Quillfish, which can actually do a quite good job. Togekiss can come in and pretty much take the hits. Like a defensive Gyarados could do it as well. There's a few options for him to handle the primary threat on the Articunos team. So really excited to see. Really, I think what's going to happen is dictated through play and keeping the momentum, right? And we're going to see this aggressive momentum that ends up favoring Key to Succession in the Ottawa Centrets, or are we going to see this more controlled setup momentum that the Arizona Articunos can work in through a better defensive core, arguably, and be able to, or not more of better defensive core, but more of a reliable defensive core. When you look at something along the side of Quillfish Blissey, it's not bad, but then you look at Regenerator Amoonguss mixed with Gramble with Intimidate and Bronzong having the Levitate, or the Heat Proof, whichever one he prefers. They just have better abilities that end up in the end benefiting them more and having more flexibility in the way that they're used. So let's see what's going to be ending up with that going there. Oh, hey, look at that. I was just checking, and all of a sudden, look at that. There is a battle. Well, in that case, let's not keep them waiting. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The third and potential last series of the night, depending on the other two showing up. It'll be between Key to Succession and the Ottawa Centrets and the Arizona Articunos on the far side. Take a look at the teams. I am already liking what I've seen the Ottawa Centers bring tonight. That is a super cool little comp there. Having the Garivire, first of all, but the Volcarona was definitely one that we did point out to being a better threat. If we are going to see the Volcarona lead off against the Smeargle, the Smeargle could go for Sticky Web. One thing that generally hampers highly aggressive teams is Sticky Web if you have no way to get rid of it. Luckily, we don't see a Ghost type on the side of the Arizona Articunos, but what we could see is something along the lines of Rapid Spin come out from either the Smeargle. It could be Defog from the Flygon, but luckily for him, he is able to spin it away most likely with it. But instead, Volcarona carrying a Chesto, not even a Lumberry, a Chestoberry, specifically says, "Hey Smeargle, what's up?" and takes out in one shot. There's no Focus Sash on that. Now, there is one thing that can block the spin on the side of the Arizona Articuno. If that is a Ghost-type conversion, Z-conversion PZ again. We see it going through. That Fire Blast actually didn't do that much damage. We do see a Rock Slide. What is up with these matches? We see Substitute Player of Donphan Rock Slide Heat Proof, by the way. Bronzong. That's gotta be Heat Proof. That's a +1 Bronzong. That's a +1 against a Bronzong. That's gotta be Heat Proof. That took it way too well. That is extremely good information. But the Intimidate's gonna come out with the Gyarados. It is a Mega Gyarados, though. It says, DD, I want the speed. I don't care about the attack, but I've got the speed. This thing's gonna start doing a lot of damage, hopefully. Unfortunately for Key, though, it is part Dark, which means that it is weak to the Play Rough that this Gramble can go for. And doesn't have +1 attack. Not even that +1 attack Waterfall necessarily do the damage. But, I mean, wow. Definitely seeing some good choices here. Chesto Berry's a bit suspect, but I think the one thing I do like about the Chesto Berry is there's any other status that was put on. It was definitely specifically made, again, for that turn 1 play against the Smeargle, right? We're not looking for paralysis. We're looking to stop any type of sleep, right? So Lumberry, sometimes people are like, why would you just run Lum? For a potential situation if you have that going on in your mind. The Waterfall doesn't do that much damage. Play Rough does a lot of damage, though, and that is a Mega Gyarados, so might have to reconsider his options here, although because he has kind of used it to do that much damage, he might just stay and try and do as much damage as possible. Zeddy actually makes the switch into his Zelf as the Play Rough misses. Unfortunate. What is going on tonight? A bunch of hacks and a bunch of techs. Loving it. Loving every minute of it. Thank you, Pokemon. But anyways, the Zelf is now going to come in. I don't know if it's going to try and set up rocks or just going to try and go for attack, but the Bronzong is going to come in. The Stealth Rock does come through, so we do start seeing some hazards being placed up here. If Flygon is carrying Defog, it's going to be in a good position for it to defog it away. He doesn't have anything of his own up yet, but Delmise is going to come in as the Protect actually comes through with the Bronzong. Looking for a little bit more HP on it, I guess, to try and tank up some hits in the future. Not that it has to worry much. It'll be able to take whatever Electivire goes for. Maybe it can't take a Wild Charge. He knows something we don't. But Delmise here, Shadow Claw is going to do a lot of damage. Remember, Steelworker is the ability on Delmise, which allows it to do Steel Stab, essentially. Steel Damage Stab. But either way, Shadow Claw does come through. It doesn't do a hell of a lot, actually. That's a Rocky Helmet discovered on the Gramble, so good to know. I think we actually saw that when the Waterfall went off from the... Oh, no, we didn't, actually. Did Molt Breaker prevent that? It did not. We saw it before. Okay. Stone Edge actually ends up coming through for the Gramble, so already some moves being seen here to try and handle certain Pokemon. Togekiss and normal Gyarados wouldn't like that. But Knockoff's going to come through, takes out the Rocky Helmet the slightest, but I don't know if it's necessarily worth it at that point. But the Thunder Wave misses, that's 2 now. Gramble, a little blind there. He's got to go back to the training camp, try and get some glasses for it. But at this point, the Ice Punch actually comes through, so we're seeing more of an offensive physical here. Physical offensive as Zelf, so interesting choice. So now I'm curious where he goes from here, right? What does he have that will help him actually be able to take stuff out? He's got the Skuntank, which can also run a Defog. I completely forgot this is also a Defogger. But I have a feeling that the Pursuit Trap or a Sucker Punch is coming in here to prevent all this stuff. So Skuntank, most likely, I feel like it feels like it could take a hit. It could take the Ice Punch. It could take the Knockoff. It could take maybe a Psychic Stab, U-turn. We don't know exactly. His Elf sometimes doesn't run Stab, especially if it's physical. But it is the Sucker Punch that is going to come out. It is Life Orb. So that is good to note. Life Orb, Sucker Punch. Didn't see the Defog come through. I thought it might be able to take the hit well enough, but instead, he opts to go for the kill. Maybe he could Defog it later. Or maybe this is the triple Dark Stab that we see from Skuntank all the time. So, or most of the times anyways. You can run this thing with Fire Blast. You can run this thing with, like, basically it'd be like Sludge Bomb, Pursuit, Sucker Punch, and then add anything in there. But Poison Jab does come through. That's a lot of damage on Togekiss. As he ends up going for the Nasty Plot, but Skuntank is faster? I'm surprised. Oh my god, that thing is max speed. Holy cow. Max speed Skuntank, it is offensive, so that does make the most sense. But yeah, unfortunately, he is going to have to make the switch now into the Mega Gyarados. Ends up valuing the Togekiss over the Gyarados. Everything else on the side of the Arizona Arcus are just faster, though, so I don't know exactly what he's going to do from here. I think Skuntank does have the Sentret's number. I'm not talking about the Pokedex number, either. Let's see what's going to have happening here. I feel like he just goes for Poison Jab, but he actually ends up going for the Sucker Punch. I guess he knew he was going to be slower. Cross Chop comes through. Doesn't even kill. Yikes. Well, that's good to know. So let's see. Cross Chop is base 120. Wild Charge actually might have actually killed it there, so... Maybe not wanting to tank the recoil, but at this point it is 4-2. He's down to his 2 more defensive Pokemon, even though there's a nasty plot Togekiss there. He says, forget it, you know what I've got, and GG, game 1 goes to the Arizona Articunos. I definitely think, though, I'm going to stand by my statement and say that definitely mattered on the tempo. But most certainly, we saw Ottawa Centris say, screw it, I've got the offense, let's just go in with it. I definitely like what he brought. I do think that he actually did a good job for himself with that type of battle. So, good for him on bringing that stuff. I do, however, think that a couple of mistakes in the middle there, and he just already lost the pressure and everything like that. But... I mean, who knows? I don't know. So the offensive Pokemon chose, and I think the Mega Gyarados was wasted a little bit with knowing that Gramble is going to threaten it, and now knowing the damage calcs, he needs that +1 in order to be able to two-shot that Gramble. So little things here and there for him to learn, but for sure it's going to be important for him to try and take this again and take that opportunity to learn those stats for if he does go into it. And we'll just go from there, so... I like how actually Booze Fox started talking Spanish. No big deal about that. Luckily, we have that advantage with a mod that can speak Spanish, so... But it's good to see you, Booze Fox. This is a tournament that we run regularly, to say the least. But either way, though, so what do we see that Ottawa Centris could potentially do? I feel like just play the offense a little better. I don't know if that Azelf actually did that much. Conkeldurr was not seen either, so we do see some different Pokemon being brought out here. Which is interesting, because... Then again, like, if you bring Conkeldurr, he would have to bring, like, Poison Jab this week to take on the Togekiss and the like and stuff like that, so... I feel like he definitely does have those types of things, but I don't know. I against that type of team comp, we didn't even see the PZ come out, so we don't know what conversion it's going to become. I suspect maybe Ghost still to block any spinning. But the important thing to note is that the Bronzong has Rock Slide, and it also has Heat Proof, so he's definitely got stuff ready for that potential setup with the Volcarona. But I definitely like that Volcarona Chesto Berry. That's going to stop him from going aggressive and making sure that he can't do that again. But that doesn't matter right now, because we have to get into the second game. This is the opportunity for the Ottawa Centris to try and make their way into the top 6, and if not, they're hoping that other people underneath them are going to start losing. But let's take a look at this Arizona Articunos on the close side, 1-0 up against the Ottawa Centris on the far side. Do we see a switch up? I like the Noivern switch. I think this thing's going to do a lot more than the Pokemon that was on the team before. I keep forgetting Pokemon that were on the teams. What did he have before this? Oh my god. I am drawing enormous blanks. I suck. Wow. Either way, though, we see Noivern coming out on the side of the Ottawa Centris. See for Alligator coming this time for the Arizona Articunos. I guess realizing that maybe if he keeps the same team comp, for Alligator could sweep for the most part. Yeah, he's feeling pretty safe. Waterfall, Ice Punch, and Crunch will basically take out all of this team. But we actually see Moxie Gyarados. Interesting. Doesn't have the Intimidate, has Moxie instead, so maybe trying to get a setup here before going into Mega Gyarados, but at this point, it's not going to help him. He's going to have to go for the Mold Breaker. He's going for DD versus Swords Dance. So Waterfall comes through. Holy mother of God, this thing is terrifying with Sheer Force. But that is just going to be a ton of damage Gyarados going to have to take. Now, it can go with its own attack. It will be faster, obviously, but it's just going to have to deliver its own blow here. But that is just so much damage he's had to tank. If this thing was running Intimidate, maybe expecting that, it would have been better for him, but not the case. The Earthquake's actually going to come through. Interesting choice for the Earthquake there. Actually, the Bronzong would have taken a lot of damage if it was thinking of coming in. But it is going to be the Gramble that is going to be soaking it up because it, again, has the Intimidate. This is what we were talking about, the defensive options for Arizona Articunos are just much more flexible than the ones of the Ottawa Senators, right? They're just more supportive with their abilities and stuff like that, right? Play rough comes through. That's a 2-shot on a Zelf. That seems pretty rough to me. It's pretty rough. But anyways, we haven't seen all the attacks on a Zelf yet. So we saw Ice Punch, we saw Knockoff, and we saw Stealth Rock. So he's going to be going for that knockoff again. Just get rid of the Rocky Helmet yet again. The Play Rough's going to come through, kills out the Zelf. At this point, it's pretty much the best thing he's going to be doing for it. So I do agree with that. Try and take that out, but let's see. So he's got the Gramble down. It's going to be going low. It's not going to be taking Rocky Helmet damage anymore. My question is, does he have the Steel attack? Does he have Iron Head on Delmise? It could take the hit, come in, and kill off the Gramble. Because we know that Shadow Claw won't kill him unless he gets a crit. That's kind of risky. But Togekiss comes in. I like this decision, although Gramble does run Thunder Wave. So let's see if he's actually going to predict that. But I think the Nasty Ball here is a nice little choice. It's not going to be fast or anything, but it might get a kill off on something. Although setting up now doesn't really get him anything because we know that the Skuntank's faster. Not that it matters, because Stone Edge hits and Air Slash misses. What the hell kind of universe are we in right now where 95 misses, 80 hits? This universe is kind of bizarre. I think we toned back some of the hacks anyways and just threw it into this week. It's a great week. Let's hacks it a lot. But luckily, speaking of hacks, we see the Air Slash come through, flinches the Gramble. Not an enormous deal, but it's important to note that Key Succession did not try and set up, which makes sense because he knows that the Skuntank outspeeds. He's not going to have an opportunity to abuse the +2, so rather than taking a bunch of damage, get the kill, go from there. He is going to make the switch now into the Mega Gyarados, just to finally take the hit as the Poison Jab comes through. Get a little bit of recoil on it from the Life Orb and the rocks. And now here's the situation. Noivern actually comes in. So Sucker Punch is going to do a lot of damage to this. Does Noivern actually have enough power to kill with a Hurricane or Air Slash? Not with Air Slash. Hurricane maybe, but either way, Scorpion says, nope, I'm going to the Bronzong because the Hurricane does end up flying through. Does very, very little. We do see it as Life Orb on the Noivern. This thing's heat proof. So Fire Blast or Flamethrower, yeah, it's... Wow, and the worst part about this too is Bronzong can go for Rock Slide after tanking all of these hits. So Delmise will come in. I like this decision because Delmise will actually be able to claw the crap out of something, right? Unless Smeargle comes in on the Shadow Claw. Which, I mean, would make sense, because, I mean, Smeargle's done this thing already, Parting Shot to try and get his Feraligatr to set up with Swords Dance. But I don't know, because it definitely tanks up the other two stab moves that Delmise can possibly carry, and he ends up doing it. Smeargle goes in. Ooh, the Rapid Spin play. I like that from the Ottawa Center. It's well played by him, noticing that he could just go for it on the off chance Smeargle comes in. And he gets the hit through. Not too shabby. Now, the thing I would be worried about, though, is I believe Feraligatr is not damaged. So Parting Shot will put him to -1, and then Feraligatr gets his free SD again. So I feel like Parting Shot is just so hard to deal with because you have to deal with the fact that you're losing attack. If you switch out, whatever switches in, loses the attack and special attack, right? And Smeargle is just this annoying piece of shite already that gets to do this, and it's just annoying. But either way, Skuntank is actually going to come in on the instead, but Anchor Shot, whoa! Anchor Shot comes through, so Skuntank is stuck. Ooh. Works similarly to the arrow that Decidueye gets, Shadow Arrow, whatever the hell it is. But I kind of like that. So he's got to bring in the Noivern as the Poison Jab comes through. Ooh, gets the crit. Doesn't really matter, though. Skuntank was going to get a kill on something like that anyways. But that's kind of funny how that actually works out. So he actually ends up sacking that off, unfortunately. But here's the thing. So Delmise can come back in. It's still going to take it. I believe it's neutral because Poison is neutral to Ghost. But Sucker Punch is going to come through. That's a lot of damage as he actually ends up going for the Anchor Shot again. Just takes the down. Oh, but the Aftermath. Ew. That's unfortunate. But the Volcarona is still healthy. It's the Feraligatr. Smeargle comes in. The funny thing about this is Smeargle, all it has to do is go for the Parting Shot here, go into the Feraligatr, put him at the -1. But the thing is, Volcarona, I don't think it can kill at stock with Giga Drain. I definitely can't. But the trick instead, the Choice Scarf trick, come on, man. Kicking him while he's down. Holy crap, Smeargle is just so aggravating. As the Togekiss is now forced out, as we actually see the Spore come through. Yada, yada, yada. Now this thing can actually switch up his moves, so he's going to switch back into the Volcarona at the same... Actually, no, he can just go for Parting Shot into the Feraligatr, or even just go with the PZ for some style points. My god, man. Just such an annoying Pokemon to deal with, though. It's really unfortunate, but free SD, could have switched to the Volcarona, XD. It don't matter. Ice Punch actually comes through, I guess, predicting the Volcarona in case it had a sash, but we know it doesn't, so either way, it does just get the Ice Punch damage off. He knows he very much has this in the bag. I don't know, though. Oh, he actually ends up waking up. The Air Slash comes through. I guess he could hack him to death. Ooh, is that Agility SD? Good God. People just bring out all the cool moves this week, so instead of bringing DD, he opts for the Agility SD. I kind of like that, because he knows that certain Pokemon still speed him, like the Volcarona with the Quiver Dance and stuff like that. I kind of like that decision, but hey, it doesn't freaking matter, because I have Sheer Force, and Arizona Articunos, as a result of me having Sheer Force, takes a 2-0 on the week. GG. Gotta say, though, super valiant effort on the side of the Ottawa. Why the hell do I keep doing this to myself? Ah. Stupid. I gotta clean up these, there we go. I gotta clean up those, notepads things. Does that show it? It does. What the fuck, man? A valiant effort on the side of the net on the, Ottawa Centrets. It's just, in the end, it's so much to deal with when he gets that type of, when Arizona Articunos get that kind of pressure going on. And again, the setup just takes over, right? But definitely liking what I'm seeing when it comes down to that. So, at the end of the week so far, unless the other two combatants actually show up, it will be the Arizona Articunos going back into the first seed with 16 points, dropping a mere one match in this entire tournament. Very, very impressive on their side. I'm so stupid. Anyways. The joys of monitor capture. Regardless, with that, I really do think that, again, you know, misplays and experience aside and things like that, I definitely do think he brought the right idea. Just try and just smash Tyler or Scrubbington before he gets anything going. And I mean, it was good in concept. Unfortunately, Scrubbington knows how to handle it. It looks like, you know, it brought his own little cheese there with this heat-proof Bronzong. I saw that, Mitchie. I don't know, man. I mean, it's not going to matter for points, though, because neither of them played, right? We could do a mock one as if they battled, but it's just not going to matter, so. It's up to you guys. Well, points kind of do matter if none of them get it, but I can commentate it, absolutely. All right, I'll give you guys a moment to build it or whatever. Go for it. Either way, if we were to look at, yeah, have fun with that. I didn't know it was on tonight, Frank. I thought they weren't, but have fun. Hopefully, Cloud9 does not die to Lion Gaming. Dear God. Sadly, I could see it. Go NA. We talked about this team last week. We talked about 2 matchups. We actually gave credit to the Glissopadres for having Trick Room and being able to abuse Trick Room against the likes of the New York Ninetales, considering they also have a hyper-aggressive team. This is the hyper-aggressive team, by the way. I meant to say that with the Ottawa Centrets, that Frank can bring a quite aggressive style, with not necessarily the super hyper-aggressive team, but definitely brought the aggressive style. But this is the aggressive style team that you would see out of someone trying to make success with it. Again, just trying to bring some bulk into their teams. But as it stands, yeah, like I really think that Trick Room would actually work if World Leader was here, but we'll have to see, because I really did give credit. We were trying to talk about last week with Scrubbington about what took Serpure. We said Metagross. We said the likes of Vileplume, but we do think that is a giant threat. But again, it goes either way, right? If that threat gets through, like the Snorlax, even the Gengar could do a little bit of work, versus the likes of Superior, and I think we mentioned Keldeo as well. So that's kind of a field day. But in the end, I mean, it's really going to come down to which Pokemon gets out there first and gets the style done. I honestly think that the Glissopadres actually have a slightly stronger matchup with this sort of thing, so I'm curious to see if the New York Ninetales end up heading up into the playoffs, if they're going to try and make any switches, because I'm really concerned that this team is just not going to pull itself through, right? And if it goes against the third team, it's against Mitchie. And we saw what happened against Mitchie, right? He just didn't have the aggressive... He didn't have enough power to get through him, right? He just didn't have the offense to break through Aloma Mola, Registeel, Dragalge, right? So, I'm kind of concerned, but we'll have to see if he pulls it up. So we're just going to have a mock game 4 now. If we do see them show up, then we will let them play. But as it stands right now, ladies and gentlemen, neither of them have made it here. So, kind of surprised about. As I mentioned, in the event that this happens, neither players get any points, and it will basically stay as a moot game until the end, right? Because they can't make up the time if they don't make it here tonight. We just go from there. So. These points are looking way too close, but I think now, with the 2-0 for the Arizona Articunos, you could definitely see that there's going to be, for sure, with the New York Nidoran males, even taking a, you know what, yeah, with Arizona Articunos actually taking a 2-0, New York Nidoran males is basically just fighting to keep third seed to try and fight the lowest seed, and that's what's gonna end up happening. So we definitely have our top 2 players. Congratulations to the Arizona Articunos and the LA Ledians for the first and second ranking. The only thing that will matter is next week who gets more points. If the LA Ledians 2-0s and the Arizona Articunos only 1-1, they might actually have to go. Actually, yeah, if they do that, they will be forced into a best-of-3 tiebreaker for first place. Good God. That is insane to think about, but that will be a giant situation if... and you know what? Arizona Articunos have a lot of pressure against them. Unfortunately, for the Glissa Padres, the way they finished their season will be either not getting any points, but with Ottawa Senators having 4 points, even they stand a chance of taking more points and even trying to take over the New York Ninetales. If they don't show back up, that could be key to succession coming in and taking the 6th seed over the Ninetales, right? Would have been nice if he even took 1 point tonight, because then he would have taken them down, but the scary thing here is, like, Arizona Articunos against W. Wellington, I give Ivan credit to definitely take at least a game off of the Arizona Articunos. I think he can play well enough to actually play around that, and honestly, I actually think that W. Wellington's team is scarier than, like, in terms of sweeping potential, is much scarier than Scrubbington's team. So that is certainly a thing that we can take a look forward to. But I think LA Ledians have a free 2-0. Not free, but pretty solid 2-0 looking in their favor. But Arizona Articunos, hey, if they get 2-0'd by W. Wellington, not only could W. Wellington potentially force themselves into 3rd place if the Houston Haluchas 2-0 them, but we could see a giant thing. Wow, there's a lot of situations here that can happen. But for now, what a song to come in on this, ladies and gentlemen. Oh no, what happened to my thing? Here we go. This match does not count for points. This is an exhibition match, ladies and gentlemen, between the LA Ledians representing the New York Ninetales, the New York Nidoran males representing Glissa Padres. Look at the teams. You can already see a difference in the building styles based on the Pokemon brought. Although I will argue that this is definitely the standard team that Mitch would bring with the Araquanid, with the Alolan Golem. I think that's his really only choices here for his defensive or just even a pivoting core. So, let's take a look at what they got. I definitely like... I do think that... I feel like Mitchie over there brought a Trick Room team, but we'll see. Either way, it's going to be the Gigalith versus the Alolan Golem. Alolan Golem's going to have a good time here. Gigalith, yeah, actually, can just go for it. We just see a straight explosion out. It doesn't actually kill as the Stealth Rock comes through. Unfortunate for Diego, but doesn't get the Galvanized Explosion kill. Shoutouts to that Mini-Or sweep. But anyway, Serperior is going to come out now. I can just go straight for... Actually, it has a fun time going for Leaf Storm here because there's like next to no answer until a Trick Room is forced. And anything else is going to use it. Oh my god, the sub even comes through as the Stone Edge actually is fired out from the New York Nidoran males going for it. Serperior's just going to have a good time here, I think. I don't know if Diego predicted having a good time, like maybe with Stone Edge Miss or whatever. But Gengar's gonna come in. We have a +2 superior. It could do a lot of damage. Also, it speeds. If this thing's carrying like HP Ghost or HP Dark, it would be ridiculous, but I don't think it is. It is gonna switch to the Araquanid. The Araquanid has very, very good special defense. Not good enough though. That is a lot of damage that Araquanid just took. One thing again we've seen about the side of the New York Ninetales, which is represented by the LA Ledians tonight, is the fact that they are just, like, his defensive core is next to non-existent. So once these two Pokemon fall with the Alolan Golem and the Araquanid respectively, he's down to offense, right? And if your opponent still has good defensive Pokemon, it doesn't matter. It's ridiculous how it's come down to that. But either way, the Slowbro is going to come in. The Leech Life does a fair amount of damage to it. But we definitely see there's going to be a Slowbronite on it, as Mega Slowbro might actually shine this week. Either way, though, the Pidgeot is now going to come in, as we actually see a double switch back into the Gliscopod, so definitely making use of the Regenerator on the side of Minchie there. But Gliscopod, it's not going to appreciate a Mega Pidgeot's Hurricane, so not too sure exactly what wants to get done. I definitely do like the idea of the substitute on the Superior, though. That is the one way that the New York Ninetales would get in to handle the likes of what's it called? That is one way to get in to handle the likes of the fact that they can't. He doesn't have enough offense pressure to get through the Gliscopodras, right? It keeps him safe from tricking and things like that. But first impression, that would get you maybe a job at McDonald's, but definitely not going to get you a kill in Showdown, as it is taken out with a Hurricane. The U-turn comes through from the Mega Pidgeot. It is going to be taking a lot of damage back from rocks once it comes back in. There is no Wish Passer, so I think Mega Pidgeot's done his job. Kill off the Gliscopod. As the Snorlax is looking to maybe set up, as the Keldeo is now going to come in. Gotta worry about Secret Sword, and there it is! Belly Drum, as the Figgy Berry from the Gluttony boost is definitely going to be popping. I don't know if Secret Sword kills. This is terrifying. Like we said, Snorlax can go to town. It's just not properly set up, as the Haxorus is actually going to be sacked off here to an Ice Punch. Interesting, he went for Ice Punch against the Keldeo. I guess he predicted a sack. But it does hit everything else and kills it, so hey. I think the LA Ledians are going to have some problems killing this thing off, because what does he do? He's going to have to, like, just poke at it slowly to take it down. I guess he's got to hope to God it goes for a Secret Sword, weakens it up. But no, he's just going to make the double switch again in a Superior and just gets Ice Punched to death. I feel like this is being done on purpose. Does he not have an answer for this? Nah, come on. Secret Sword plus Hurricane must kill. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it just doesn't kill. Araquanid's dead when it switches in. Keldeo, I guess, has to try and... I don't know what he's actually trying to do with this. Yeah, he's definitely conceded. That's definitely what it's looking like. These predictions are insane. Oh, dear. Well, good to know Gliscopodras could have easily taken a match off of the New York Ninetales, but gets to go over Secret Sword. Doesn't even kill, and he recycles the Figgy Berry. He doesn't even get the kill. He's not even going to heal up enough to take another Secret Sword. He ends up letting his Snorlax die. Ah, good old Recycle, never forget. But the Metagross is going to come in now. Goes for the Bullet Punch. He's trying to keep it down close, because he knows his Mega Slowbro can take the hits. But the Secret Sword's actually not doing as much damage as I thought it would do, so it's going to take a while. Either way, he's going to make that beautiful switch into the Slowbro, goes to the Secret Sword, takes it super, super well. Keldeo is locked into the Secret Sword, as the Mega Slowbro is probably going to set up the +6. I can see it coming right now. He ends up actually just going for the Ice Beam. Excellent play. Looking for the 10% freeze chance, as he now is going to make that switch into the Metagross as Secret Sword comes through. Doesn't do a lot of damage. That was a crit before? Interesting. But either way, he's going to go for the Bullet Punch, doing a lot of damage. Paper cuts, ladies and gentlemen. Mitch wants to show he is the dominant troll, as the Mega Slowbro is going to come in. It has to do enough damage to kill this thing off. Now he's going to be going for that nice crit Ice Beam or freeze, and might just concede right at the end to let the LA Ledians win, but we'll have to see what he's going to end up going with. He could have easily switched into that Slowbro to take it out, but no, he says, screw it, I want to freeze you. Never mind, he gets the crit. The fun is ruined, and ladies and gentlemen, New York Ninetales proving they could have 2-0'd Diego. Instead decides to take a different persona and crush him. GG. Well, my analysis of that match is we're dealing with a couple of trolls who are just having a lot of fun, but regardless, you can see the power, honestly. Like, I'm not kidding you. You could see the power of that Snorlax in that particular situation. You can see the weakness that New York Ninetales could have potentially had with trying to set up and just take hits in the meantime, right? So I am kind of I kind of wish that I could have seen this match. So that is kind of unfortunate, but we'll see. Maybe they'll bring out the other 6 Pokemon in game number 2 and see if they'll actually get something going. But as it stands, if they don't show up in the next 5 minutes after we do all our analysis for next week, then we will basically call it a draw. Neither of them will get points, and that will be a little bit insane because it would have been New York Ninetales' opportunity to stay in the top 6. So I don't know. I don't think I have to put out announcements. I have the times all over the place. But regardless, looking ahead, we do know the top 2, and we do know that the LA Ledians have to basically get a 2-0 and has to hope that Tyler is going to give up a game to W. Wellington next week in order for him to try and fight for that first place seeding to battle either between W. Wellington or Houston Haluchas. Unfortunately for the Houston Haluchas, unless you see... well, actually, there is one way it can happen. Houston Haluchas... Oh my goodness, this is insane. If the Houston Haluchas 2-0, the New York Nidoran males, they tie for 3rd, which means they'd also have to do a tiebreaker. Actually, no. Technically, by the rules that I have, the Nidoran males would take 3rd because my rules are a little incorrect. They reward more W's, more 2-0s, than they actually reward matches won. Which theoretically they both have won the same. Actually, no. Houston Haluchas would have technically won more games. Nope, 2, 4, 6, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Huh? 6, 7, 8. Oh yeah, they match up, so we'd make them fight for 3rd place, I guess. It's a bit of an oversight on my part to it. But we're getting into game number 2, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what these crazy people are bringing out for me. Let's get some Trick Room music going in here. Game number 2 of the exhibition match between the New York Ninetales on the close side. No, that's definitely not it. What the hell? Oh, they just want to fight each other. Sounds good. All right, let's see what they're going with here. I guess they do want to make this the deciding match between them. It's not going to matter for points. Either way, the Kingdra is going to come out versus the Minior. Diego is bald. Can confirm. Thank you, Shell Smashing Minior. But either way, this thing is going to be coming out trying to do as much damage as possible. The Toxic is... What the hell? There's a Toxic on a Kingdra? I don't know what he's expecting. Who did he battle this week? Oh, he was expecting Mitch. I don't know what he's expecting, but he's got that on his thing. He's got Protect on the Kingdra as a Disable comes through. Okay. Anyways, Shell Smashing up beyond imagination. The Scald actually ends up coming out one-shots the Minior. Unfortunate for Mitchie. Didn't count his defense drops. That was his main mistake. But either way, it is going to be the Star Raptor coming out. Goes for the Intimidated drop on the Scald defensive core of Kingdra. That was your set? That's insane, man. It's you know what? Like, real talk, this week showed how creative all the teams can be, for the most part, and it actually super excites me. Oh, that did nothing. What the flying balls? Holy crap. Defensive Kingdra OP, ladies and gentlemen. But it actually excites me to think about what, I kind of feel bad, because once you go to the playoffs, everyone's going to kind of drop these, and we couldn't see these flourish week by week in the regular season, but maybe they can bring it out in the tournament against certain people. But either way, we're going to see that Kingdra drop to a double edge after Supersonic Sky Strike, which you don't expect to say. Will-O-Wisp does come through with the Talonflame as the Roost comes out for Diego having Lice, apparently. How you doing, Goomba? Defensive Kingdra is probably the only Kingdra he should be bringing ever, but Brave Bird is going to come through. Gale Wings boost as the Brave Bird comes back and says, you know what, I'll still live from burn. This is Gen 7 after all, and Talonflame is probably going to go for the Roost here. Yeah, knowing that he can take the hits, his Double Edge actually ends up coming through. Does a lot of damage, wow. Star Raptor is super strong, even when it's burned, so... The Darmanitan is going to come up. Diego Manitan. I like it. Choice Scarf Kofag. Oh, God. No, you're doing it wrong, Goomba. We need Choice Band Kofagrigus. Choice Scarf makes too much sense. We need Choice Banded Kofagrigus. Clearly. Either way, the Kofagrigus is going to come in. Actually ends up going for the Hex against the Mandibuzz. I actually like that because now, like, we can actually take this opportunity to analyze what these switches could have meant. Diego definitely playing off the fact he's going to try and be hazard stacking with some of the weakening against Mitch to take down his team. Obviously valuing the hazard stacking over it because it made a lot more sense. But definitely even looking for that opportunity to just try and use Hex to try and weaken him up. There's the Toxic Spikes, right? Just hazard stacking everywhere. Oh, really, Diego? Wow. Clearly I didn't pay attention to it then. But either way, we are going to see the taunt come out. See, that thing would have been so good, but I guess he was just really, really worried about the likes of... what's it called? I guess he was really worried about the likes of Zapdos and stuff like that. But this Mandibuzz could have helped out. That's a shame. But either way, the Cresselia is going to come in now. We know this is the Flame Orb Psycho boosting one that he brought out with the Rest Talk. Unfortunate for the LA Legends, don't get the burn up, so not going to be able to abuse that. He's just going to go for the rest. He's going to try and put this thing to sleep, which makes sense. As the taunt actually ends up coming through, which stops Sleep Talk, by the way. So Cresselia is made useless, so he's going to have to switch it out. See, I think this Mandibuzz would have had a great time, but didn't end up bringing it, so... Mantine instead comes through, knocks off the leftovers. You know, it would be nice for me to actually print off. I make you guys bring it the day of because I know people like to make last-minute changes. But, like, if I could read more into the Pokepace, I could do it after. I'm just too busy with other streaming stuff or, you know, real-life stuff to go back and look at the Pokepastes. I only check to make sure you guys aren't cheating and bringing moves that you didn't have before and stuff like that, so... He's burning the poop that Diego is eating. This is just wrong, ladies and gentlemen, as the taunt actually ends up coming through as the Scald is fired off again. Diego says you're not going to stop me from using Roost that easily. I'll instead Scald you for that, and then proceed to switch out and go into his Hawlucha, where the Roost is going to come out. He knows that he's going to have to heal there at that point, so now Hawlucha is free to set up its Swords Dance, go to town. He actually misses the Toxic. That's just basically, I think, over from there, right? Excuse me. Going for it again, though. I think he feels safe with it. Does he have a Lumberry? He's not. Okay, I thought he was actually going to try and bait out the Lumberry so he could get, like, the Unburden boost here. But he is pulling pretty fast here. Thunder! What the fudge? Thunder Punch! Ooh! Diego gets hit by the Mummy, though. Forgot about that one. That's the one that snuck into the back there. This Darmanitan is definitely scarfed, so... Yeah, bye-bye, the Hawlucha. Ouch. But instead passes the sheer force down the Mummy. Everybody is becoming a mummy. This is a maternity at this point. Cresselia is gonna come in. Flare Blitz comes through. It doesn't actually do that much damage, but he can't even like Sleep Talk here because the thing's toxic. He actually ends up scoring the Ice Beam. What the hell are the odds in that? I know the odds. Don't tell me. It's 1 in 3. But the Flare Blitz comes through. He's just doing a lot of damage to himself. He's gonna try and just get the Ice Beam again. He actually ends up scoring the rest. This was Gen 2 would have been broken, but he is gonna end up take out the Darmanitan, but just tanking up the hits. Recoil, cause. Recoil plus just the Toxic is going to rack up here. And then the Espeon now comes in. Oh, this Espeon is in prime position to try and kill everything. Are you kidding me? Yo, Cresselia sucks for people. But either way, Cresselia takes it up. Now Mitchie is trying to struggle. Because he's going to have to figure out a way to get through this. Palosand is getting toxic here. These Toxic Spikes just paying off dividends. Psycho Shift not going to do anything. Actually, well played by New York Nidoran males to try and prevent that. So... Well, Ice Beam's going to hurt this. And Shadow Ball, yeah, it's not going to do too much. We saw it do it before. It was about, what, 35%, I think? Maybe a little bit less, but... Shadow Ball is going to fly through. Yeah, about 30%. So, gets the Spadef drop. Nice for him, because that's just going to make Cresselia even weaker if it tries to stay in. But instead, he's going to switch out. He knows he's going to wake up the next time he comes in. Mantine can take this, though. Gets the Spadef drop again. Roost can come through, but that hit's going to do about 30%. Just under. That's true, that is a standard hit. It's now getting weakened by Toxic. Everything's getting weakened by Toxic. As Roost comes through, he's hoping for Spadef drops. I think he's basically called it quits, because this is pretty much it for him. He's Espeon versus the World. If he actually ends up going for Shore Up, I forget what Shore Up does. I think it heals him if he gets hit by a water move or something like that. Let's take a look at this really quickly. What does Shore Up do? 2/3 in Sandstorm. Oh my god, that is so cool. That's actually really cool. So that would have actually been really good against the Sand team, or the Sand Core that the LA Legends brought. That's very interesting. If they end up fighting each other, that could be something he has to keep in mind. That's 66% heal. That's really, really neat. But either way, the trick doesn't end up working? Huh? I know he brought it, Diego, but I'm saying it'd be really interesting to bring in the playoffs if they do meet, if you two meet. I didn't know it, because that makes even more sense. It stops the Lycanroc and it helps him in the sand, so. I remember bringing it, I just never looked up what the attack actually did. Why can't he trick you? Do neither of you have items? Neither of them have items, but either way. LA Legends still proving. Well, actually it was a 1-1 on the week, so maybe we can give them the benefit of the doubt, but GG, gentlemen. Thank you very much for the exhibition matches. I know Lycanroc gets crunch. But either way, though, let's take a look at this. I'm not seeing World Leader or Mitch in the chat, so as it stands, again, by the end of the analysis, if neither of them show up, none of them get points. Which is a big deal for Mitch especially, right? Glissa Padres are just looking to upset. But at this point, Mitch926, if he wants to remain in the tournament, it's looking a little bad for him. But let's take a look at the standings as it stands right now after all the matches have been done. If no points are being awarded, the Arizona Articunos in first place with 16 points. LA Legends in second with 14. New York Data Males third with 10 points. Fourth place, W. Wellington with 8 points. Fifth place, the Houston Artichokes with 7 points. Tied for sixth at the moment is the New York Ninetales and the Ottawa Centrets, and Glissa Padres riding it up in last. Let's take a look at next week's matches right here. It will be the LA Legends versus the Glissa Padres, the Ottawa Centrets versus the New York Ninetales, Houston Haluchas versus the New York Nidoran Males, which is actually the biggest match, arguably. Actually, there's two big matches next week. Definitely that too, because those two are going to be looking to try and upset each other. And the worst part is, just talking numbers-wise, if the Houston Haluchas end up 2-0ing Mitchie W, they have to meet the week after to do a best-of-3 again. And then on top of that, not only that, but if, let's say, W. Wellington 2-0s the Arizona Articunos, right, and takes 11 points, he takes third seed, they're both battling for fourth, and then guess what happens? They take fourth and fifth seed, and then they go into the playoffs in the quarterfinals to do a best-of-5. Oh my god. So literally, it's up to Inert Fury to decide, is it worth me getting a 2-0 on Mitchie to then do a best-of-3 to beat Mitch, Mitchie in order to go into the quarterfinals to do a best-of-5 against Mitch to move on? Oh, that's hilarious. Wow, those numbers work out way too poorly for both of those. And we haven't seen them battle yet. The worst part is we haven't even seen them battle, so we don't even know who it works out for. Because if Inert Fury can beat him 2-0, let's say, that means that Inert Fury ends up in a wonderful position, right? He didn't even try to fight the guy that he knows he could potentially beat in a best-of-3, and then on top of that, he has to fight him in a best-of-5. And if it goes to that point where he just can't have anything working for him in the side of Mitchie W, that just gets Inert Fury straight to the semifinals, theoretically. But, of course, it is a longer series, time after time, when they are battling with each other, so it will end up mattering with standard comps, right? Of course, with Week 7, it becomes a little weird, because the way that this works is, Week 7, you battle a series of 2, right? But you get that week off to still prepare for your opponent, so the best-of-3 could still prove that Mitchie could come back and take the best-of-3 series off of Inert Fury, right? And then when you go to the best-of-5 in the playoffs, you're playing with completely different teams because you have to play more standard. So it's not even like they're playing in the same 3 situations. So it's actually like 3 different mindsets where you go from, this is what I think he's going to bring, to now I know what he's going to bring, into now I need to bring stuff that can get me through to the finals and to win first place and win the championship cup. So that's super interesting to me. So that's going to be the big one, but the other one, of course, being the big one is the Arizona Articunos versus W Wellington. Of course, as we mentioned it, the LA Ledians get a 2-0 next week against Calissa Padres, which again is a very high likely chance. They can go to 17 points. If the Arizona Articunos drop a single game, drop one single game against W Wellington, not only does W Wellington hold himself up there with 9 points, potentially protecting him from a 1-1 situation with the Houston Haluchas, where they have to fight for 4th place. Oh my god. This is working out to be so strong. Wow, 4th and 5th seed just kind of get to see each other a lot. Because they just, hey, look, I'm 4th. Well, I'm 5th anyways. And then on top of that, oh my goodness. Wow. If only we had the head-to-head matchup. Sadly, we don't have the head-to-head matchup in the rules yet, so we will be changing that starting Season 4. As it stands, it'll just force them into a best-of-3. Because if they go 1-1 in the head-to-head matchup, jeebus. Either way, though, that's the way that it would work out. But W. Wellington's job is, if he wants LA Ledians to hit 1st seed... Oh, they should, though, because it's up to how we determine it, right? Based on the rules I have now, Diego, it just means more battling for them, because it doesn't matter, you're right. It's 4th and 5th end up in the same place anyways. But it's for the bragging rights of where you ended up in the regular season. Does it give away facts? Technically, yes. But that's why, again, I haven't fixed the rules. Either way, we'll have to see next week, right? It will matter, though, because the Houston Haluchas would be going to the 3rd seed. So if that ends up happening, 3rd and 4th seed don't battle each other. That's I'm kind of thinking of 4th and 5th seeder, which is not going to happen. But if W Wellington and Houston Haluchas end up going, well, yeah, they still have to battle each other. And then it kind of gets scouting time on each other, which is kind of funny. But that's why, again, we don't have the head-to-head. We have to put the head-to-head into the rules. I can't just put that in right now, unfortunately. That would be collusion. Or whatever. But the point is, if he does end up 2-0ing New York Nidoran males, they have to fight for 3rd seed, which is a big difference because you either go against... let's see. You either go against potentially the Ottawa Centrets if New York Ninetales don't show up, or if the Ottawa Centrets get a point, or you end up going against Wellington. So that's how it would work out. Actually, no. If he gets 3rd seed, yeah, that's how it would work out. Depending on the battle he's gonna have. Ivan would get 4th regardless? Yeah, if Ivan gets one more... Actually, that's very true. If Ivan does 1-1 at Arizona Articunos, he goes up anyways. This is all we have to... God, there's so many different ways this can go. That's how it would work out, yeah. Theoretically, yes. If we know how that ended up, that could be very interesting. But we'll have to see anyways. It's just a lot of speculation at the moment. But the points, again, hey, you know what? The Houston Haluchas, that's a very interesting thing for them. They have to 2-0, then they go into a best-of-3, and then they go into a best-of-5 at some point potentially, right? So... let's see. Yeah, they would go. So he'd go 3rd. He'd go push down to 4th. So Rich would have to beat 5th seed. And then... no, Rich would have to beat 6th seed. Mitch would have to beat 5th seed. And then they would... Would they meet? No, they wouldn't. Oh, they meet in the finals, if anything, right? So, I guess it really depends on how the match goes. For them, right? Because if it goes 1-1 on the week, it doesn't matter, right? They're never going to make it. We'll just see it next week for sure. But, I definitely think this is really... I think this is how it's going to go. In terms of the playoffs and development of the playoffs, if the Houston Haluchas are able to 2-0 Mitchie, I think Mitchie feels safe waiting until the finals to battle him, right? Because then he would know, well, crap, if he crushes me in a series of 2 and then a best-of-3, maybe it's a good thing they won't actually meet as a result. But if New York Nidoran males are able to take him out in a best-of-3 at the very least, maybe not the series of 2, but the best-of-3, then... at least it would mean that he gets to put him in a different situation where maybe Rich won't make it to the finals. Because they won't see each other until that point, right? So they still have to grow for it, but it would separate them, right? But at least knowing if they both made it to the finals, it would determine, well, I won the best of 3. I'm most likely going to win the best of 5 unless, you know, one team just drops it and all of a sudden the series changes. There's so many things. Oh my god, I love this particular season. It's incredible. So just give me one moment here, ladies and gentlemen. I will reorganize the teams, and then we will go from there. Talk about our analysis a little bit. Whew. So much. So many things going. Oh, look at that. Organize itself. Okay. Let's take a look at this. So, Arizona Articuno is very confident after the 2-0 victory this week over the Ottawa Centrets. I'm curious to see now. So he can't make a trade into Week 7, but he can make one more trade before the playoffs. I'm curious to see if he's going to be picking up any final Pokemon to finish that off. So that is the advantage. If people do trade in Week 7, they do not get to make a surprise trade during the playoffs. It really depends on what type of Pokemon you're looking for. If you're looking for something that's going to catch people off guard, you would probably have done the trade this week anyways to grab it first. Otherwise, if you're seeing that, well, you know what, I saw this guy bring this thing, maybe I'm going to do this trade for playoffs just in case he ends up bringing that Pokemon and I'm in the playoffs per se, right? So, in terms against this, I was already talking about this particular matchup. I do think that W. Wellington has a slight better sweeping potential. Except against Feraligatr. I think Feraligatr, because it has DD, I feel like that might just be able to combine both power and speed together. Whereas if you look at the side of W. Wellington, man, if he has to use Z-Water, Z Rain Dance, Tracheon doesn't get anything. It has to go Rock Polish or Source Dance or both. So I do think it's going to be a little difficult for the Arizona Arcunos to kind of soak up the hits, especially if he brings both those threats again. So I'm curious though. Like I'm looking at that Durant, trying to see. Durant might actually be a pretty good Pokemon against the Arizona Articunos. Takes on the Gramble. Takes on the Amoonguss, kind of. Takes on the Bronzong, kind of. Like, it just has some pressure, right? You got Knockout, you got Crunch, which can do a lot of damage to the Bronzong. You've got Iron Head, which can do a lot of damage to the Gramble. So maybe he does bring it to handle those Pokemon, but otherwise... of course, we always have to look for the Conkeldurr. Conkeldurr can have fun, you know, Mach Punch for the Terrakion. Florage, you just bring, like, Poison Jab. He's really worried about that, although I do think that it should be considered, that it could be brought against it. Not that it has a lot of defense, but... I don't know. I do think that W. Wellington has a slight advantage, but I do think the Amoonguss is going to definitely pay off next week to try and just tank some hits, right? Yeah. I certainly think that defensive Amoonguss will be the main thing that Ivan would be, or that Arizona Articunos would be bringing. That makes sense in my head, but we'll have to see how it comes out. Ottawa Sedges versus New York Ninetales. Hey, I mean, we don't even do an analysis if Mitch doesn't show up. Ottawa Centrets in the playoffs. Hey, what a comeback story. Literally did next to nothing to get there. But in all seriousness, this is the aggressive player versus the aggressive team. This is going to be an absolute slugfest, right? The one advantage that the Ottawa Centrets have here is the fact that they have a defensive core they can rely on. They have the Blissey Quillfish. They have the Rhyperior if they need it, right? They've got defensive Gyarados if they need it, right? They have these Pokemon, the Togekiss. These Pokemon can actually soak some hits up and deliver some pain back in the form of status. New York Ninetales, I mean, unless they could set up the Haxorus, maybe, and get rid of that Togekiss. I mean, it does carry Poison Jab on average anyways, so maybe that Haxorus is the key in. Again, the Serperior. Serperior doesn't really have any stops. The Blissey can, but most likely Blissey would bring in the Thunder Wave, so maybe that subset would be good to bring back on the Serperior in Week 7. But, yeah, I mean, it's tricky. I don't know, right? We'll have to see what comes through, because I feel like the Centrets, again, just have a good comp against this hyper-aggression. Again, it has a better, more reliable defensive core, and then has a bunch of offensive Pokemon that can even take out New York Ninetales. So, you know, I don't know. It's a little bizarre to me. It's kind of resonating in my head with what's going to be going on. So I think we're just going to kind of wait and see the slugfest come out. I do think it'll definitely be a slugfest because they'll definitely play it through, right? LA Ledians versus Galissa Padres. You can't even go Trick Room against this man because Diego's team on average is slower. So it's... Oh my god. I do think that Lycanroc is certainly a threat. This would be the time if you're going to bring out Sunny Day, Sunny Day Vileplume. This is the time to do it. Just saying, World Leader, if you're watching this VOD, bring out the Sunny Day Vileplume. Good God, sir. I mean, there are a couple Pokemon he has to worry about. Gliscor can handle the likes of Hippowdon, unless it's carrying Ice Fang, Hitmonchan, Chestnut, stuff like this. Like, Gliscor can actually do pretty well here against Diego. Gotta watch for HP Ice Zapdos. Gotta watch for Ice Beam Cresselia. These types of things. It's kind of difficult to call, because, I mean, I'm just gonna say it, no matter what Diego brings, and this is gonna encourage him to bring, like, a trolley set to kill World Leader with, I feel like Diego could just outplay World Leader with whatever he brings, right? We saw that Disable Kingdra come through, right? And it makes sense in a certain situation to cut off certain moves, but I don't know. Like, there are some threats, as usual, on the side of World Leader. Again, that excellent draft. Even Zoroark does a little bit of work here against the Gofagrigus, Cresselia. But in the end, I don't know. I feel like he can have answers to 1 or 2 Pokemon, and then the other 4 just take out the rest of the team. And it comes back to play, right? Ah, World Leader, what the hell, man? Hey, he made it! He made it! You might have saved yourself 3 points, friend, because your opponent is not here. You might actually get 3 points. That's incredible. He gets the 3 points. This would be the first ProPokeBowl, by the way, where everybody gets points in the series, no matter how it happened. But at the moment, New York Ninetales are not here, so let's just wait for it. If Mitch ends up showing up, we have a 4th series, ladies and gentlemen. If not, though, World Leader gets it, man. But either way, for next week, I really feel like, going back to my original thing, I feel like World Leader is going to have to really try really hard to take down Diego. I don't know. Again, there are some good answers that I could theorize, but I feel like, again, you take out the 1 or 2 Pokemon, and then Diego just sweeps through. He finds that crack in the armor and just takes you out, so. No problem, man. We'll probably be going for 9 minutes anyways, Diego, so. Because now we're talking about the New York Nidoran males versus the Houston Hawluchas. Okay, let's take a look at this. We thought the Crocodile would be a lot more useful this week, and it didn't turn out to have the greatest effectiveness. But it made sense with what it could have brought. I still think the Waterium Z would have been better, but that's my opinion. It did have the Chople Berry. It worked out for him. So, with this matchup, I think we should talk about the Houston Hawluchas first. Very, very consistent choices of what Pokemon they're using. We're basically seeing the same 8, 9 Pokemon that's being used. If anything, the same 7 Pokemon being used. As that Miltank seems to be the switch in when something's destroying you in terms of, like, you know, play rough Donphan. World Leader, you actually have a big deal in the points, by the way. If you take even 1 game off Diego, that means that literally, like, if you take 1 game off of Diego, Tyler can be 0-2'd by W. Wellington, and he stays in Diego stays in 2nd seed. So your battle next week is actually very vital to who takes 1st place. It's kind of funny. But when we look at Rich, right, we see that the Mega Sableye, the Milotic, the Rotom Heat, which was made Scarf this week, and the Celebi are very consistent. Yeah, Crocodile has a little bit of a good time with that. Mega Manectric, though? He has fun switching around with these things, right? Volt Switch on half of them. And then the other half, he's got the Overheat for the Celebi. He's got, Rotom Heat would be the only thing he can't really kill, right? Having said that, he has a low, well, no, he doesn't have a low molar. That might be the thing he has problems taking out, would be that. This is tough, because I think that Rotom Heat actually has a good time against him. I think that Smackdown Crocodile will be good against the Rotom Heat next week, because, or just brings, like, you know, an actual rock move like Stone Edge. For you guys to tie. No, because you're at 14 points, right? So if you get 1 point, you're at 15 points, which means Tyler can lose 2-0 and still stay 1st place, right? You're at 14, not 15. So in order for you guys to tie, Arizona Articunos have to 1-1, and you have to 2-0 world leader. But literally, you have to win 2-0 in order for you to even force the Arizona Articunos to even worry about losing a game. Oh, to make playoffs. Yes, that's true. Yeah, unfortunately, unfortunately, because of how many points Key to Succession has gotten, even if Mitch was dropped out of the rankings, you still end up in the 7th place. So, that's unfortunate. We have no idea what you just said, World Leader. So, I don't know. It's... The Crocodile can take on the Rotom Heats, and then the Mega Manectric can have fun with the other Pokemon, but we've seen Rich stay super defensive, just be able to take a bunch of hits and find his way through with it. But I feel like Mega Man might have a good time here, right? We were saying that he had to soften up Sweet D's team this week, try and get some sweeping potential down here. Rich can't stack the same way that Diego did. Definitely not. So, I don't know. Maybe Rhydon, but then Crocodile eats that. Yeah, Manectric Crocodile will have a fun time next week for him. Darmanitan can crush the Mega Sableye because it can't get burned, and then it can also crush Celebi. So I guess that makes sense. I don't know. That's a tough one, because then what does he have for Weavile? He's got the Alomomola for the Weavile, technically. But not well, right? Like, the Registeel and the Alomomola can mostly just take a hit. So if he keeps his defensive core, I think the Nidoromales actually have the advantage here. Like, they have the offensive and the defensive capabilities to cripple the main threats that Rich has been bringing. And on top of that, doesn't get threatened much by... Like, doesn't have much stopping his offense, right? So his defense is better, his offense is better. I think it's going to be up to Rich to try and bring something a little bit different. Not that Shedinja, Glalie, or Necrozma are going to help him. Might be time to make a trade, wink wink, if he was still here. But, interesting. I don't know. That's certainly something, of a pickle, actually, for Inert Fury. And like we said, it's important for Inert Fury to get the 2-0 next week in order for him to vie for the 3rd seed. Because if not, might I remind you, they're still going to play each other, to my knowledge, right? If the New York Ninetales and the Ottawa Centrets move above him somehow, or even like think about it this way, if the Ottawa Centrets 2-0 the New York Ninetales, oh my god, there are so many tiebreakers. Because then that means they have to fight for 5th place. God. There's so many tiebreakers. Because then, let's say the Auto Set is 2-0, the New York Ninetales, right? He goes up to 7. If Mitch takes down Rich, they have to fight for 5th and 6th place. Right? Because that's the difference between fighting potentially Ivan versus fighting Mitch in the quarterfinals. Holy cow. So basically what we see right now is unless W Wellington 2-0s the Arizona Articunos, we could see movement in the top 4. We can see movement in the top 6. So this is nuts. This is too much. I need help. Like, Calissa Padres, if they're looking like to get the 3 points tonight. Oh my god. The saddest part here, let's say Calissa Padres get one win against the LA Ledians. After the 3 points, that puts them at the 4 points, right? If the New York Ninetales lose 2-0 next week to the Centrets go up, and then he's stuck at 7th. Is there a way that he can actually... It would have to be like the New York Ninetales come back next week? Can it be possible? Let me see. No, I think it's a 2-0 to be in the tournament still. Yeah, because then if they won 1, it's 5-5 apiece. And then he'd be at 4 points. So he'd still be kicked out, and then they have to fight for 6th. Jeez. Yeah, the other two have to 1-1. He has to 2-0 you, which puts him up to 6 points. But I'm trying to think of a world here where if he gets 4 points, I don't think he can. Right? Because then he'd be like, oh, well, New York Ninetales didn't show up. Oh, no, he gets 7th place. That doesn't work, right? What's the other situation here? Let's put the points in. I need to put these points in. Congratulations. I'm going to call that free. Nice. Okay, so let's reset this. I got to look at these points. I know he can't. He has to 2-0 you. I'm just trying to figure out. Let's, for some reason... Okay, so there is a way. There is a way the Galissa Padres can get into this. If World Leader takes a 1-1 next week, and both the Ottawa Centrets... Oh no, because they play each other. Okay, so here's an interesting situation. What happens if the New York Ninetales don't show up? Then the Ottawa Centrets get the 3 points. Never mind then. There's no way, because they both battle each other, that actually stops the... Yeah, World Leader has to get to them. Now I'm understanding why I was getting confused by that. It's because they actually play each other. So yeah, he has to 2-0. They both not show up. That's actually true. If neither of them show up, oh my god. And then who do I give it to? That's where the head-to-head matters, I guess. What do you even do in a 3-way tie like that? Oh, I believe what you do is you do a coin flip. Those two people battle first, and then they get the time to build the team. Basically, it's whoever was at the top for the, I think, like whoever had the top or the most wins. That's where the most wins matter, I guess, at that point, right? Because, like, wins and ties would matter in that situation, because then the person who lost, like the person who won and tied the most, should be the one battling last in the best of 3, because they all have to do it in the same week, I believe, right? Oh my god. I don't know. We'd have to deal with that when we get there. Woohoo! Wow. I've learned how to run tournaments as a phys ed, or as a phys ed specialist, but we only learned like literally half a day of it. So when it comes to this is when I have to research and figure it out. But that's also going to matter when we put into head-to-head, and we actually iron out the official rulings for entering the playoffs. So that's okay though. Hey, you know what? That's the whole point of this Pro Pokeball, is we're cleaning up rules and everything like that, and just getting to there. That's super interesting though. But the points, there you go. Look at that, Galissa Padres, the first Pro Pokeball where we have points on everybody. There you go, perfect. So yeah, we gotta look forward to week 7 then. LA Legends, Galissa Padres, Ottawa Centrals versus New York Ninetales, the Houston Haluchas versus New York Nidoran Males, huge implications here. And the Arizona Articunos versus W. Wellington, also huge implications. There are implications everywhere here. This one can potentially matter for a 3-way tie, but I highly doubt, unless some freak accident happens where Key Succession and Mitch both don't show up next week. I'm tired. That's a lot of math. That's a lot of math and speculation. There you go, boys. We've made it to the last week of the Pro Pokeball next Wednesday. That will be October the 4th. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You're looking at the end of a season that has been truly a roller coaster for people being in scores. You've seen the rise and fall of Ivan. You've seen the points starting to shoot up all over the place. You're seeing Mitch starting to hold that 3rd seed, looking for the top 3. You definitely can't make it to the top 2, but hey, 1st place is still volatile. 3rd place is still volatile. 7th place, 8th place, 6th, they're all volatile. 4th and 5th doesn't matter, but I mean, if you think about it, if 4th and 5th had to do a tiebreaker in a best of 3, you literally just screw around and reveal nothing. You have to do it though. It's just for the sake of doing it and for claiming 4th or 5th place. So yeah, I'm excited for it. You guys should be too. We'll see you next week for the conclusion of the regular season of the Pro Pokeball Season 3. And then from there, we will be talking playoffs. We will get the bracket organized. We will get the rules ironed out to make sure you guys understand. Of course, the head-to-head and all the other stuff has not been organized. We'll be going with the rules that's in the Pro Pokeballs right now. And then we will correct it for Season 4 or the mid-season, whatever one it's going to be. But We will be talking playoffs. We will also set up the sheet for you guys to sign up for the days that are best for you to do the playoffs. I would highly recommend, if you know you're going to be in the playoffs, which would be right now Arizona Articunos, LA Ledians, New York Nidoran Males. Okay, everybody, technically, look at your days. Look at your days. See what days you're going to be available, because this might not be a Wednesday night, and if it is, it has to be earlier, because we have best of fives we have to do in the playoffs, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 best of fives in a single night. That's a lot of best of fives, and it's going to be a really long night for those of people who are actually moving on as well. So, that's a minimum of, if we assume there are 3 O's, that's 15 matches I'm casting. I'm going to need a lot of cups of tea, so the night is going to be really long, and there's going to be a lot of breaks. So let's make sure that we have a night that we're all sure that we can last for at least 5-6 hours, because that's how long we're going to be going for. Trust me. So we will be looking at Wednesdays. We'll also look at weekends if we can make the weekends work. Because I do know, well, it's Canadian. Never mind. Canadian Thanksgiving's coming up in a couple of weeks, so that doesn't affect you guys. But thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you next week for the conclusion of the Pro Pokeball. Again, think about the playoffs, all 8 players of you. Get ready, because you're about to send us on a giant roller coaster ride. Till then, enjoy, and peace.